Good afternoon. This is a JP Dinnell podcast, episode 54. I am JP Dinnell, and as always, I have Lucas with me. Today's guest is a Army combat veteran who received a Purple Heart for injuries sustained in combat, an Army Accommodation Medal for his actions in Afghanistan, as well as many other medals and ribbons for his service. He is now a small business owner where he runs a strength, power, and conditioning gym called Patriot Strength and Fitness in Midlothian, Texas. He is also a purple belt under Formiga who competes regularly on multiple fight to win cards, as well as any other jiu-jitsu competition this man can find. I am also very thankful to say that he works and helps us at Echelon Front as much as he physically can, working as a role player for our field training exercises, helping build out the program, making it better, making it authentic, and always finding ways to provide as much value. He is an avid fisherman, an avid outdoorsman, and now is also starting to get into woodworking, producing these incredible, amazing tables and countertops and nightstands, very similar to what my dad has been doing for years. So I'm actually looking forward to you and my dad meeting and just comparing notes and talking through stuff and actually probably working on some stuff together. So James, what's going on, man?
I'm good, man.
How are you?
I'm great.
Lucas, what's up, buddy?
I'm rocking my new Origin jacket. That's what's up.
Looks good.
Yeah, the new
sweet
Origin
denim
denim.
jacket.
And shout out to the Origin team for custom sizing this one to fit my Empress figure. I really, really appreciate it.
Did you really have to contact them for the size?
Well,
He
you know.
did. He did. They were like, what's his body shape? And he's like, imagine a V taper if on a person whose feet were bound together for the majority of their early life.
Oh my
They
goodness.
just had to look at Gimli from
good.
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, that's it. Well, no, he's much too butch.
Oh, I got
Like if Galadriel had a testosterone issue is more what it's
you.
like.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zero clue what you guys are talking about. James, what's up, buddy? How are you doing, man?
I'm great, man.
So, obviously, I'm excited to talk about like your time in the military, what you do at FTXs, and connecting those two. How we met at Double Five. I still remember the first time we rolled when I came across trained, and then just talking about your jiu-jitsu. But before we get to that, and your beautiful wife and your stepdaughter and the family that you have and the businesses, I'd like our listeners to kind of learn a little bit about you and your childhood and what shaped and defined you. I know we have briefly talked about that at times, but where'd you grow up and what was your childhood like, man?
I grew up in Southern California, in Lancaster, California.
Yep.
Not the wealthiest of the families growing up. It was, at my youngest age, it was me, my mom, my sister, my grandparents, my uncle living all in one house.
Okay.
And then we finally got our own little rental apartment where it was just me, my mom, my sister. It's just been us for a while. We moved around Lancaster for a little bit. Moved to the bad area. Kind of got, nothing I was doing. Just walking down the street and getting jumped.
Really?
Yeah,
Like that's just part of your
that was
childhood.
just part of it. Yeah, just walking to the store or anything like that.
How
yeah.
old were you?
I think the first time I got jumped, I think I was 12. 12 years old, 12, 13.
By like just kids or gangbangers
No,
or wannabe gangbangers?
Wannabe, I don't know. Could be
Probably
wannabe gangbangers.
Yeah. There's a lot of wannabe gangbangers
Oh, yeah,
in
for
Southern
sure.
California.
Yeah. And I think the first time it was like, I was just walking the store trying to get some chips and candy or something. And they came up to me to ask me if I had anything. I said no. And then next thing I knew, I got hit in the back of the head. And it just kind of happened a few times after that, every now and then, because I lived right down the street from them. So every time I walked around the corner. But then I think after like the second time, they saw me and they kind of realized I wasn't scared and I wasn't avoiding the area. I just kept going anyways. They're like, all right, we'll just let this guy walk by, I guess.
It's not fun to jump this
Yeah.
guy
So
anymore.
they're like, this sucks.
yeah.
Obviously when you get hit in the back of the head, you're at that point it's self-defense. You're trying to like fight back, protect yourself.
Yeah.
But after like the second or third time, were you just like, did you know it was coming? Did you initiate the violence? Which you have to. Like if you know you're getting jumped, there's no like I'm gonna let them throw the first punch.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Anybody that's ever been jumped during a fight, that's the stupid advice ever.
Yeah, for
because
sure.
you don't beat the reaction. At what point were you just like, hey, I need to defend myself and fight back?
I think the first time it happened, I went home.
Yeah.
And that Accidentally, it was when the Birdman lugs first came out, and they stole my shoes. And I went home. I was crying. My mom was like, "What happened?" And she saw me grab like a pipe out of the backyard. She was like, "Where you going?" I was like, "I need to go get my shoes." And you know, she didn't let me leave. She grabbed it, and then it was probably, I don't know, a couple months, weeks. I didn't see him again. Then the second time, I was riding my bike. I was gonna go meet this little girlfriend I had. Well, she wasn't my girlfriend. We were just really cool friends.
Yeah.
You know, we're 12.
I mean, yeah, you're 12.
12 years old.
Yeah.
And I was riding my bike. Yeah,
you probably
little crush.
crushed on her. Yeah.
And I rode my bike to hang out with her. We were just gonna go to McDonald's, hang out at the play place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Dude.
That was the spot.
Bro,
And
The McDonald's play place
yeah,
is
amazing.
It's like, hey, you want to go ride some slides? You know, just hang out, eat some French fries. And dude, one thing that throws me off with, I know this is off the subject real quick, but in California, they had the bucket of fries at McDonald's. It was like a popcorn bucket.
Yeah.
Y'all know that?
Yeah.
I grew up in California.
Oh yeah, you know. So, but when I asked people
they
here,
had it here.
okay, a lot of people didn't know that because I asked them that, and they're like, "No, we didn't have that." So I was just kind of confused about that. All right, but anyway,
Well, there are some places I don't think had it, or they probably just don't remember it. But yeah, I remember the bucket of French fries.
okay, I thought that was a California thing, so I thought it was pretty cool.
It might have been. Who knows?
It was
But
delicious.
yeah. So anyway, the second time, I was just hanging out. My friend, her name was Maya. We were hanging out, and the same dudes. One of them was on a bike. They came up. They saw me. They're like, "Hey, you're that dude over by 3rd Street, you know, where we live, that we beat up last time." And I'm just trying to know. I was like, "No, man, it wasn't me, bro." I was like, because this time there was like 6 of them. And I was like, "No, man, I had my bike." And then, I was with the girl, and I don't want to like look like a punk. And I was like, "No, man, it wasn't me, dude."
Yeah.
Trying to act tough. And then what's crazy is the dude who was on the bike, he was just kind of circling around. And when I wasn't looking, he just rode up, and he actually hit me while he was on the bike. And I'm pretty sure I got knocked out for a little while. Because I remember waking up and like I had some chipped teeth in my mouth and I could taste it like sand.
Oh my god!
And I was getting kicked, and then they stole my bike. And I was like, this freaking sucks. And then I got up, and she ran off to go find her brothers to try to help me.
Oh wow!
But I got up, there's a dude crossing the street, and I didn't know who he was, so I picked up the closest thing I had next to me. He's like, "No, man, it's cool. I saw what those guys did to you. I think I know some of their family. I'm going to go see if I can get your bike back." And he walked me like halfway to the house just in case they were there again.
Yeah.
And man, I didn't see him. And then after that, my mom was like, "Hey, I don't want you getting hurt. It's getting crazy and worse down here in California or Lancaster where we lived at."
Yeah.
So she ended up sending me up to Chowchilla up by Fresno and stuff like that. So I lived in Chowchilla for a little while with my aunt and uncle.
Okay.
And then, I didn't know what was going on. I can tell they didn't really want me there, but they wanted to help with what they could.
Yeah.
But same thing, they had 3 kids. Them through my aunt and uncle. So then I kind of got involved with little Mexican gangbangers up there. hanging out with them and just running around, not really, gangbanging or nothing.
Yeah,
but
I mean, you're
just being around it.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that you hear often is, unfortunately, the whole product of your environment thing is a real thing, and you're in a situation where, now as an adult you say that, but as a kid you probably didn't recognize that, your aunt and uncle, it's not that they didn't want you there, it was hard. They had a lot going on. They had 3 kids, and they're doing what they can do to take care of you. So I'm willing to bet you probably didn't get the attention that you needed as a kid, and then you seek it out, or just it's drawn to you is from these other gangbangers.
Yeah, I mean,
and then you get drawn into that. Hey, there's people that will protect me, that like me. I want to be able to hang out and have fun with.
Yeah, one of the first guy I met, his name was Lalo, and me and him just got really cool. Like he kind of looked after me at that school because I was a new guy there,
Yeah.
And I would just hang out, run around with him, and then my aunt started seeing the people I was hanging around with, and my uncle. And my uncle, he was retired Navy, and so he saw how I was acting. He was raising his, my cousin, and to be a certain way, and he's like, "James, you need to get your stuff together, man, before, or I might have to send you back home, send you back to where you were." And then I got a little butthurt over it because I had a little girlfriend at the time, 7th, 8th grade.
Yeah.
And man, I actually ran away for 2 weeks, and I lived in an abandoned house out in the country, like right down the street from my girlfriend's. Her dad had like some little farm. I can't remember if it was like a dairy farm or something, but it was a small little ranch. And I lived in I literally just took a blanket and took off because I didn't want to move back home because I was nervous. But at the time, my mom and they actually lived in a worse spot than where I came from. And I didn't know that at the time. But, so at first I thought I was going back home. And I was like, I want to stay away from all that. So then I kind of ran away, lived there. My little girlfriend every now and then would bring me leftover food from dinner. And then that's crazy. I was actually telling Justin about this the other day. After a couple weeks, man, I got tired of it. I was like, man, this ain't working. I'm just living in the house. I didn't go to school because I knew my aunt and them would show up and find me.
Yeah.
So then I just started walking back to town, and I was trying to go to my friend Adon's house, and some guy on a farm almost shot me because I was on his property. We didn't almost shoot me, but he pulled over and was like, hey, what are you doing, man?
Yeah.
You look like a little thug running around my neighborhood. I was like, I'm just trying to walk back home. I've been hiding out here. So
he's squatting in his house for the last
couple
weeks.
And it could have been on his property, so who knows? But he was like, jump in the truck, man, I'm going to take you home. And for some reason, I just did it. I was like, I don't care. I jumped in the truck. And
you've been living in an abandoned house for 2 weeks.
So I was like, all right, man.
Sounds cozy.
Oh, no, it was.
Yeah.
And then he had a couple dirty magazines on the floorboard. I was like, okay, that's cool. But and then he had his gun. He put his gun in the the glove compartment.
Yeah, glove box.
But he was actually cool, man. I'm kind of glad I ran into that guy because he's like, look, man, if you've been out here and you're doing this stuff, he's like, that should be a sign that you're going the wrong way. And he talked to me. He's like, you don't want to keep going this route. He's like, you need to find something. And it actually helped a lot. Just little stuff like that. I've actually had a couple guys like you I wouldn't have expected to keep me on the right track.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I got back into town. I was trying to walk to my buddy's house. This is when it gets a little funny. My aunt pulls up in a car on the road as I'm walking. And my first instinct was run. But I actually had to use the restroom really bad, like number 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't run. If I run, this is coming out. So I just got in the car. She took me home. She made me pack up everything. She made me sleep in the room with her and my uncle so they knew if I was going to run out the window again. And then I packed up. Next morning, they drove me to San Bernardino, where my mama and them were living at the time, and lived there for a few months. Didn't know anything about it. It was with my sister's dad and his family. But so it gets even crazier here. Her uncle was actually dying of cancer, so he didn't care anymore, and he was already a little hoodlum. But once he found that out, he just really quit caring. He started making fake money. He was slinging drugs. He didn't care about nothing. He's like, I got 6 months, man. I'm gonna live my life how I want. Jeez. And he actually gave me a lot of it. He's like, here, man. He's like, don't spend more than so much in one place. They're gonna get suspicious. And I was like, oh, all right, cool, man. I was like,
and how old are you?
I was in middle school, so I think it was seventh grade, maybe, at San Bernardino. And so we lived there. There was some random lady there who was like a little hood rat. I don't know what she was doing. She had a little room somewhere. And then actually another guy I was telling who actually kind of helped me on the right track. They called him Lazy. I shared a room with him. He was fresh out of the freaking penitentiary, and I was sharing a bedroom with him. And But he was cool. He talked to me. He was like, look, man, I'm 50 years old. I just got out. He's like, I don't got a chance at a different life. So he was still selling drugs out of the room and stuff like that. And it was just basically a small trap house. And my mom and sister were in the front room. She was trying to work stuff out with my sister's dad. That didn't work. We were even living with his other baby mama and her 2 kids. It was a crazy little household in the little ghetto parts of San Bernardino, And we lived there for about 6 months. And then there was one time these 2 crackheads tried to break in my room because they were looking for Lazy. And I was like, he's not here. So when I said that, they tried to get in, try to get his stuff. And then actually my sister's uncle, beat him up with the tire iron to get him out of the house. And after that happened, my uncle and aunt already moved here to Commerce, Texas. And she was running an apartment complex in a low-income housing apartment in Commerce. Mm-hmm. And she called my mom, my grandma and grandpa were about to move out there because they had a stroke, so he wasn't working construction and taking care of stuff anymore that I used to help him with. And man, we all just packed one bag, jumped on a train, and came over here.
Wow.
Yeah, because we didn't have a car or nothing, so.
On a train?
Yeah, we took a 2-day train ride from California to Texas.
Was there some legs of it that you had to jump on the Greyhound when there was times that the train wasn't running?
I really don't remember, man.
Yeah, I was just curious because
yeah.
we took the train from Sacramento to Albuquerque, New Mexico to visit my grandparents a few times.
Yeah.
And you'd take a train and then a Greyhound and then a train for the longer periods. I was just curious if you had
I really don't remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you make your way out here to Texas. You're in what, 7th grade still? Almost 8th now or 8th?
I want to say it was probably 7th, 8th grade, yeah.
Okay, still in that time frame. So you make your way out to Texas, and what's it like? Where you living? What are you doing? What's your family situation like?
It was me, my mom, my sister in one apartment, and then like the next complex, or not complex, I guess.
Apartment
Building
unit.
Building 7,
Yep.
Building 8, yeah. My grandma and grandpa lived there, and then my mom would help my grandpa take care of my grandma because she had a stroke in 2001. She was paralyzed on her right side, couldn't really talk, couldn't do nothing. So that's one reason why we had to move out here too, because my grandpa couldn't work anymore because he was taking care of her. And yeah, you know, so me and my grandpa with the wood stuff, he started just making canes. So I'd go over there and help him make little projects, stuff like that. And my mom would help my grandma do stuff around the house. And man, I just went to school. But then it's actually where you would think I'd got a lot more trouble in California. I got more trouble in Texas because I was trying to move back to California. Because, you know, I first moved out here, you know, guys from California, they're like, California's the best state. Kind of like Texas, you know, Texas #1.
Yeah.
California, same thing.
Yeah, geographically, California
Oh,
destroys
for sure.
Texas.
If we can get like the Texas government to California government, California would be the place to be. You'd be like another Florida, man. I'd definitely be back in California.
Oh,
Better mountains in California.
Zero doubt.
Yeah, up north. I was south. I was in the desert. I was in the Mojave Desert catching snakes all the time. But.
So, okay, so you start getting a little more in trouble in Texas.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I was just trying to make one. We didn't have a lot of money, so I never asked my mother for any money. I didn't ask her for anything really. Once, because I think I started understanding that just from my grandfather. He was like the main father figure in my life, and he really kept me in track.
Yeah.
But then, you know, I try to make money the dumb way, you know. So.
Well, I mean, yes, okay, it is a dumb way for sure. But that's what you had been shown by how many different male figures in your life so far?
Yeah.
At least a dozen, probably,
Oh, yeah.
total? Okay, so a dozen, maybe more. They're showing you this is how I make money. You know it's not the right way, but you know it's a way, and it's an easy way. And how many men in your life had shown you the counter? Yeah. Maybe your uncle?
Really, my grandfather, really, yeah.
And that's it. So your uncle and your grandfather are the only other. So, okay, yes, it is dumb, not the right way, but it's what you know, and so that's what you started doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I never, my big thing was just breaking and entering.
Okay.
So I think I broke into a baseball concession stand one time because I heard somebody say there was they kept cash in there.
Okay.
There was no cash. So I was like, all right, well, I didn't break in for nothing. So I stole a bunch of Gatorades and candy and all the snacks. And then, of course, like an idiot, I sold them at school. And they're like, man, where'd this guy get all these snacks from? It's kind of weird that the concession stand down the street just got broken into. And now this kid is bringing Reese's and
all
stuff.
These snacks.
Yeah. Because, I think at the cafeteria, they were $1. So I was like, 75 cents. I was like 75 cents, guys, selling them for I was selling them like a quarter cheaper than what they sold at school.
Buy 3, get 1 free.
Oh, I was hustling. I was trying to make deals and everything. And then one of my friends, who was currently my sister's husband and fathers all her kids, he's like, man, where'd you get all this stuff from? And I used to, I would try to play it smart just from like friends. He told me stuff in California. I used to always try to do the bad stuff by myself. One, because I don't want to get nobody else in trouble. And I just had my own little way of doing things. And my friend was like, man, let me come with you. It sounds fun, cool, blah, blah. So then I felt a little cool, I was like, yeah, he thinks I'm cool. So come on, bro, let's go be cool together. And I took him with me, and, he's never done nothing like that, I don't think. And he told people, and, loose lips sink ships.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we got arrested. They showed up at my apartment like at 6 in the morning, and my mom let him in, because she don't know what's going on. And I hear a bang on my bedroom. I'm knocked out of my boxers, and they come in, they put me in handcuffs, like, what I hear? And of course, I'm like, no, man, what are you, oh, it's crazy. I don't know.
doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? And I already had a feeling something was going to happen, so I put everything. There was like woods in the back of our apartment. I kind of just buried everything back there. But I forgot about these walkie-talkies that were in my sister's room. And I was like, no, man, I don't know what you're talking about. That's crazy. I'm innocent. You know, the good. I'm the victim. I'm the innocent guy.
Leave me alone.
Yeah. And they asked my mom if they can look around the house. And all of a sudden I hear the guy say, hey, we found those radios. And I was like, oh, dang, I messed up. And they come out. And like, what about these? I was like, yeah, I did it, man. I was like, can I at least put some pants on, bro? Because I was in my boxers and handcuffs. And he's like, I shouldn't let you get dressed, but I'll let you. And I was like, all right. So they put the handcuffs. Let me put my shorts on. They didn't let me get a belt. They're like, you're gonna hold them yourself. And I went outside. After that, I was like, whatever. I was like, yeah, I did it. I didn't fight him. I just did whatever. Because my grandpa, he used to work. He wasn't a cop. After he got out of jail for a year for a DUI, he did that. The voluntary patrol stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. Citizens on patrol.
Yeah, citizen on patrol. So he did that a lot, and so he always told me like respect the law. Do all that stuff. So
They got a hard job. I mean,
oh, for sure. And I'm not mad at. I wasn't mad at them for coming to arrest me. I was like, I did it. It's my fault. So, I took after they found it, I owned it.
Yeah.
What I mean? I didn't own it at first. I was still like 13.
Yeah,
I was still learning the ways of extreme ownership, but I owned up to it, and yeah, I mean, they took me to the station. I saw the other guy in there. I kind of just laughed, and then next thing I know, they're like, "All right, you're gonna probably be spending a year in juvie." So they take me to Greenville, Texas. They drop us off. Me and my buddy in there were joking around, trying to act like we're not scared and tough. Yeah. And the lady gets pissed. She's like, "You're lucky you're not 17, or I'd throw you at the big boys." We laugh it off, but at the same time, I was like, "Oh man, I'm scared." You know what I mean?
Wait, that's an option?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, man, they put me in a little room. I had a little thin, 1-inch mattress thing in there. And I was like, all right, I guess this is going to be it for a year. And the next day we went out. Well, it was funny because we ran into some other friends. And I was like, oh, man, my friends are here. This is going to be great. And then we had like a PT time. They took us out in this opening area. I was like, dang, we just do PT and watch TV. This ain't so bad. And then so I kind of get my mindset ready. I was like, all right, this is going to be a year. Even though, it's going to suck, but I was trying to tell myself this ain't going to be bad. And for somehow, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was full. Sorry, man.
No, you're good.
It was like, I don't know if it was too full or if it was because it was like my first thing on record.
Yeah.
What it was, like a week later, they called me to the probation officer's office. And they're like, your grandpa's on the way to pick you up. I was like, what? It's only been like a week. Y'all said a year. And like, you want to stay or you want to go home? I was like, I'll go home, man. I'm good. Thank you.
I'm good.
Yeah. My grandpa comes in. He's livid. Oh, he is pissed, dude. Because I hadn't seen him since I got arrested. And I was like, he's going to tear me up. And my grandpa's a big dude. He was probably like 6-something. Did construction his whole life, concrete work. So, man, his fingers.
Just got bare
dude,
paws.
His forearms were like the same size as his arm.
It's like my dad.
Fingers,
yeah, my dad's hands are,
just huge. And I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, I might want to stay here. I was like, my grandpa's going to destroy me. But, man, surprisingly, he was super calm. He talked to me in the whole drive home, just talking about, like hopefully now you kind of, see where you're going to go if you keep doing this.
Yeah.
And I did for like a week. And then a week later, I started doing the dumb stuff. I started doing it again just because I had no money. I was like, man, and I couldn't work anywhere at the time. I was like, I think I was like 15, something like that.
Yeah.
It was still commerce. And they put me on probation. And then after a while, I was doing it. And then I was able to get a job at Brahms for a little while. And I had a curfew 7-7. You can't leave by 7 a.m. You can't be out past 7 p.m. Mm-hmm. And I had to pay off a big fine because the guy I brought with me broke a lot of stuff inside the concession stand and everything like that.
Okay.
So we had to pay off that equipment.
Yeah.
And, man, after that, I ended up moving to Rockwall, Texas with my other aunt and uncle. And that was just another thing, like they're struggling. My aunt wasn't happy I was there, especially because she knew everything I'd done. And then it was, she had her 3 daughters. One was a couple years younger than me, and the other one's younger. And she just didn't get along with me. We just didn't get along at all. and then it caused problems with my aunt and uncle.
Yeah.
You know, because me and my uncle, this is my mother's brother on the other side, not the one I lived with on the other earlier. Me and him, you know, we had a good relationship growing up. We'd hang out on the weekends. He had a little trailer in the mountains. We'd go up there, run around the mountains and stuff. And man, I loved him. I loved my uncle. But then it's, you know, he'd stand up for me. She'd get mad, so it caused friction with their marriage. And after a while, man, him and my aunt called me one day. There was times, man, she wouldn't even, if they ordered dinner, she wouldn't even call me down to eat. I'd get like a peanut butter sandwich or something like that, and that was it. And after a while, my aunt and uncle called me down when I was in like the fast track program, because I missed so much school in 6th grade. I got held back.
Yeah.
So then I had like a thing where I was doing a fast track program, and I had like, I think a year left of school, and my aunt and uncle came down like, hey, since you're working, because I was doing a car wash on the weekend and then Burger King in the evenings after school. And they're like, hey, you're going to need to get your own apartment, finish going to school. Like either get out of school, get your GED and work, or figure something out.
How old were you?
I probably like 16, 17.
Okay.
Yeah. So then I was like, all right, fine. I was like, I'm used to people throwing me out, you know? And, so I mean, I missed the whole thing. So the reason I ended up there was because when I got arrested, the apartments, I wasn't allowed to live there anymore because I had a felony and everything else. Like underage, but it was a felony. And if you have a criminal background, they wouldn't allow you to live there. So
even though your grandparents ran it?
No. So this is when we moved to Texas. This is
okay.
a different one. Yeah, this is the apartment.
I'm sorry.
So my aunt was working there, but when I got in trouble, she wasn't working there anymore.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm moving. So I got
no,
much
you're
stuff
fine.
flying.
No, you're good, bud.
Yeah, so when I got out and I went back home, they told my mom, like, hey, y'all got to move out. If anybody has a record, they can't live here. My mom had nowhere to go. She didn't have the money. You know, she's on welfare and food stamps. So that's why I had to go live with my other aunt and uncle in Rockville. So, yeah, just to make that part clear. And so, yeah, they told me I had to move out of their house, either get a GED, work, and get my own apartment. So I left. My friends, one of the guys I knew from school, he talked to his parents about it. And, man, they're great people. They're like, hey, we got a spare bedroom. Stay here. We want you to finish school.
Wow.
You don't need to get out, get a GED. And, yeah, they let me live there. I stayed in that spare bedroom. That's when I got into working out, actually, because his dad did, like, bodybuilding for, like, a hobby.
Yeah.
And he took me to 24-hour fitness in Rockwall. I'd work out with him, fell in love with it, started working out all the time with him.
That's awesome.
But then it started causing problem with me and his son because his son didn't want, son-father relationship. He didn't want to hang out with his dad. So then he started getting mad. Oh, you like him more than me.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so then there was a big thing like that because me and his dad would go work out, hang out at the gym all the time, and then sometimes we'd eat afterwards. And then Derek's like, you never take me to eat. He's like, you don't come with us. You don't want to hang out with me, so whatever. So that kind of caused a problem. But eventually, after I worked, I was able to graduate school thanks to them letting me live with them. And, I'd give them money out of my paycheck every time just to help with like a light bill, something I could help them with. And
that's cool that you had that awareness, though.
Well, I didn't at first. So the dad actually, at first, he saw me. He let me do it for a little while because I think he kind of, he knew I didn't have anything. So I'd like, oh, man, I can finally buy shoes and all this nice stuff and no more Walmart clothes. I was like, man, no more Walmart stuff or whatever. I can go buy a nice pair of Nikes or something. Okay. And then after a while, he's like, hey, man, just so you know, we love you being here, but we have bills. We're helping you. Just something to think about. And I was like, man, he's right. I should help with something.
See, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because, he was, they're being generous. They're helping you out. But then now by that, just that simple little statement, he's coaching and kind of guiding you like, hey, when you live somewhere, you should help with the bills because this is what it's going to be like. That's awesome. No. So then you start cutting them a little bit of your paycheck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he was a great dude, man. His name was Derek Holcomb. Yeah, he helped me a lot. We'd hang out, talk. I'm pretty sure he's one of those men, just a random guy.
Yep.
None part of my family just kept me on the right path. Yeah. He's my family now. I consider him. I actually talked to him the other day, and it was crazy, man. Last year, I flew to World Masters, ran into him at the airport, dude, in Vegas. I ain't seen him in like 5 years. I thought that was the craziest thing. I'm sitting there. We're at the baggage claim, dude, and he's at the baggage claim next to me, and I'm looking at him. He's a little smaller, but he's still jacked. Yeah. And I'm like, Derek, and he looks at me. He hasn't seen me in like couple years. I had my big beard at the time and everything. He's looking at me and I was like, it's me, James. Man.
Did you start crying?
Oh, dude, it went ecstatic. We give each other a big hug, man. I'm like super pumped. My wife's like, who the hell is this dude? You know, and I'm trying to tell her. And he was with another lady at the time. He called her, well, they're divorced. I'm not trying to make it sound like, a side piece or something.
I didn't even think of it that way.
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's
good
clear.
clarification.
Yeah. You remember? I'm learning a little bit of stuff from EF, simple, clear, concise.
Yeah.
Bro, you're solid. Thank you.
So I wanted to make sure that was clear.
It's important when you're telling stories on the internet to be that way.
For sure.
I learned that the hard way.
No, that's solid. Thank you. That's some good cover and move right there.
I had to clear that up. So, she comes up. She's like, who's that? She's like, this is my other son. This is my other son I was telling you about, my son. And that kind of almost made me cry
I
a
would
little
have
bit,
been
Yeah.
bawling.
I was like, God dang. So we talked a little bit, and then, it was like, I did my competition, lost, came home. And then he called me the other day because his daughter passed away. And we caught up a little bit and talked. And, yeah, man, I mean, after that, I graduated. Yeah. So like I was able to graduate. The school, Rockwall Heath, knew my situation. They didn't make me pay for cap and gown or nothing. And even though I didn't get my diploma, they still let me walk the stage because I failed the math tax test. I got a certificate of completion.
Okay.
And so like, hey, you did better. They're like, we're not trying to sound rude or anything, but you did it more than a lot of.
Considering
your stuff, you did well. They're like, we're going to give you a cap and gown, and we're going to let you walk the stage.
That's cool.
And I was like,
that's where my wife went to high school.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so we went. They took us to a big church out there. I can't remember what it's called. I don't know.
Lake Point?
Yes, Lake Point Church. And we did the ceremony there. And then after that, my friend's dad sold me an old Ford Expedition. Ford Explorer Hour Edition. I love that dang thing. I miss that car
the
so
old
much.
Explorers are awesome.
Yeah, it was a 98.
Got to watch out for those Firestone tires, though.
Oh, I know.
I can't believe you remember that.
Yeah.
Run the
That's
Ford Exploder.
impressive. Exploder. We had a 98 Explorer too.
I loved it, man. The Eddie Bauer Edition.
Yep.
Yeah, this is so good.
The inside was tore up, but on the outside looked nice. It had
cares?
like 20-inch rims on it. You look good on the outside. But then they didn't know, like, why are you going around to your side door? I'm trying not to let anybody know. I was like, I had to jiggle my metal rod thing to open the passenger door or the driver door. I would just act like I'm looking for something on the passenger side. But awesome. I graduated. I bought that car from my friend's dad. I got a small apartment behind the Brahms over there in Rockwall, if you know the area. Put an air mattress in there and a George Foreman grill. And all I ate was chicken and rice. And then whatever I ate, I worked at the TA gas station right there. Yep. I worked at the Burger King and the gas station. And then I'd ate whatever I ate there. And then work out. I think I'd work from 6 to 2 there, go to the gym, and then I was working at Pizza Getty. Do you know that place? I'd work at Pizza Getty for a couple of hours in the evening. And then after a year I got out of school, I was trying to join the military, trying to join the Army. And the Marine said no because I had the felony on my record. Even though I was underage, they're still like, no. That's too much paperwork. Yeah, they're like, that's too much paperwork.
That's just a lazy recruiter.
Oh, no, it was for sure.
I guarantee you, Joe Reyna, if he listens to this, he's going to be like, I would have got you in.
Oh, I guarantee you.
Joe Reyna is like Marine Corps superstar recruiter now.
DFW.
Yeah.
Heck
anyways.
Yeah, he would have got me for sure.
Dang, we need more Joe Reynas.
I know. Come on, Joe. Recruit more good guys, man.
Okay, so trying to get in the Army.
So a year, I was trying to get in. I did the online thing, to try to come up from an E fuzzy to an E1.
Yep.
I contacted another recruiter station. They're like, no. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do, man? I was like, I can't work 2 jobs the rest of my life, living paycheck to paycheck in my apartment with an air mattress and a George Foreman grill. And again, started doing little stupid stuff because I was struggling. This time, I didn't do it like on my own. My buddy would call me like, hey, I'm not at home. I need you to go grab a couple baggies and sell them. Okay. And I'll give you a little bit. And I was like, all right. And then never got caught with that. Luckily, I don't have no damn drug charge on my stuff.
Yeah, that would have been zero
sure.
chance for the military.
Oh, for sure, yeah. And it was a rare thing I'd do. It was just whenever, he wasn't there. And that was the biggest thing I'd always try to stay away from was the drug stuff.
Yeah.
And after a year, I think I drove to Terrell. I found a recruiter station in Terrell. And, man, I want to find this recruiter so much, man, because he helped me so much.
What's his name?
Man, this one drives me nuts. I tried to find my recruiter paperwork the other day. I want to say it was Sergeant Bienvenides.
That's a common name in the
I know,
military.
dude. I've tried to find him, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna find it. And I even called the Terrell station. I was like, hey, I'm looking for Staff Sergeant Bienvenides. If I'm saying it right, he was there in 2010. I was like, he took like 6 months to a year out of his time to help me, as long as I promised him that I would be straight.
That's awesome.
And oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting off.
No, you're good. That's good.
Yeah, I really wish I could find him and my judge too that helped me out. Yeah, I went and talked to him, and he was from Southern California too, kind of the same background, tatted up, gang tattoos and everything. And he was like, I'll help you, dude. He's like, but you better promise me. He's like, don't screw me over. You better promise me you're going to be legit and you're going to do the right thing so you can do this.
That's
and I was
awesome.
like, I promise. I was like, I ain't got nothing else, man.
Yeah.
I was like, if I don't, I'm going to be dead or in jail. And so we did it. He would check in with my boss, Jennifer, at TA, and she was in the Army for a while too. So she's like, oh, I'll be on his ass. She's like, I'm gonna make sure he's good.
Yeah.
She's like, he wants to join the Army. I know what the Army life is.
Dude, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I love about the military, is there are great humans that see the value of the military that will go above and beyond to help other people have that same experience.
That's one thing I try to tell my buddies, or even just younger people I meet when they're like, I don't know what I'm doing out of school. I'm like, man, if you got nothing going on, I'm like, join the military, dude. Do 3 years. It'll change your life. You're gonna realize that you can get along with every person, dude. Like, there's people like, I grew up in Southern California. It was mostly Mexicans and blacks and stuff. So I never really had white friends growing up, except for my mom, my uncle, my family. Yeah. And I joined the Army. I would never thought I'd be friends with a couple white dudes, country dudes, from Oklahoma or whatever. And I ended up sharing a room with this guy named Adam Fireball. We call him Fireball. And man, I first seen him, and I'm still like wearing my button-up flannel shirts and stuff, my diggies.
Just choloed out, right?
Yeah, just looking at this fool, and I'm like, whack. And then, man, we ended up being roommates. Man, my best friend, dude, in the Army. We would hang out all the time. He kind of had a little gag thing, like you started running up there. He's hanging down the bed. I was like, he started gagging, just mess with him all the time, man. And dude, we just had a good time. And then I've just met so many people in the Army who were, I never would have expected I'd been great friends with or got along with. Yeah. And that's one thing I try to tell people, like, man, if you ain't got nothing going on, dude, like, join the Army. You're gonna find out that we're all damn near the same. We just talk different. We have a little couple different beliefs. I was like, man, you can get along with everybody if you freaking try, or at least if you have to. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you're put in those situations to where it's like, hey, it's like you have one or two choices. Yeah. Get along with the people around you, and it makes your environment much more enjoyable and doable and workable, or choose not to get along with them, and everything is going to suck.
Yeah, for sure.
It doesn't matter what you're doing. It's going to suck if you don't like the people you're with. And the military shows you the importance of teamwork, camaraderie, and diversity and inclusion. Yeah. Like, the military is the greatest example of that, because like in the SEAL teams, it was the same thing. Very diverse backgrounds, thoughts, beliefs, ideas. But at the end of the day, we have to come together to win. So before we dive deeper into your military career, so this recruiter goes above and beyond to help you.
Yes.
Your boss, Jennifer, she goes above and beyond to just keep you accountable and straight, and just helping you just realize what's important for you.
Yeah.
So before we jump into that, so you have a stepdaughter, which I know we'll talk about your wife and your stepdaughter soon, and not sure if you and Ashley will ever want to have kids or going to have kids, but that doesn't matter. What are some lessons from your childhood, knowing that you had good people that came in that didn't have to help you, but they chose to, because it's the right thing to do, is give kids and youth and other people direction. What is a lesson from your childhood that you'd want to pass on to your stepdaughter and or future kids? And I mean, that's the other thing is, like, when Aiden comes out and helps with FTXs, and or just like whether he's helping as a role player or just helping my wife with the catering side of when she'll do that, like, you're phenomenal with him on the FTXs and at the gym. What are some lessons that you want to be able to impart on other kids out there?
Man, I don't know. I think the hardest thing, especially, growing up when you hear like adults talking to you, you just think, they don't know what's going on in your life, stuff like that. I think the biggest thing that helped me that I would probably tell younger guys, teenagers to listen to was just, if an older person is just trying to talk to you and tell you a story or to give you advice, I'll be like, just listen. Just listen and try to think it out of, don't just take it for, like, let it come in and go out. Actually sit there, think about it, try to actually visualize what they're saying and how it could affect your life. Because I think if I didn't have those random guys that, I'll remember forever who were in my life, even if it was for like a couple minutes.
Yeah.
If I didn't listen to them and, actually take the time to, I think, like, detach, like you said.
Yeah.
Detach and, like, think about where I could go if I stay on this route, or, just like a compass, man. You got so many degrees. Any little degree you go can change your whole life like crazy.
That's good.
And I try to listen to every advice, and I think of the good things that can come out of it or the bad things, and I would try to think about ways that if I do this, it'll benefit me, it'll help me, it'll save me. I won't have to worry about trouble if I do it this way. Just, I don't know. I just try to, just listen. Just
be
listen.
open and
Yes, be
receptive.
open-minded.
Yeah,
and
that's
think about everything.
Well, I think that's something that you naturally do very well. I mean, from what I've heard you say already, we've been recording for like a little over 40 minutes, I think, and you've shown what I've heard you say, and I'm sure Lucas will add onto this as well. But like, you seem very self-aware in regards to like, hey, this is what I have going on. If I keep doing this, things are not going to end up well. And aware of like things that you have to work through. And I like that you just said like any little slight degree can change your life, like a compass. Like if you have a bearing, if you don't stay true to that bearing, you're gonna slightly be off.
Yeah.
And that slight deviation over time can drastically take you away from where you should have been going in your life. It's like, you like to do long range shooting as well.
Yeah.
If you're try, we can work on that. But if you're shooting a target at 100 yards, if you're slightly off, that doesn't make that big of a difference at 100 yards.
Yeah.
But if that same deviation that you're off at 100 yards, at 1,000 yards, you could be completely off the target.
Yeah.
So if you're, talking with kids, working with kids, and or if you're a kid, I know we have some kids that listen to this podcast. Shout out to my buddy Isaac, who trains at 413, Pedro's gym.
Yeah.
This kid, Isaac, this kid's a stud, man. Like, he is a good young man. Like, he loves the Lord, he loves jiu-jitsu, very respectful, trains hard, competes. Like, this kid is awesome, and I know he listens, right? And there's a handful of other kids that listen to this. So just being receptive to what older people are telling you, and understand that for the most part the intent is good, because they're sharing that time and that lesson with you because they want you to succeed. If you were to like mentor, coach kids, what would you focus on besides the openness that you just talked about?
Oh man, I don't know. I'd probably, if I was a mentor kids, I'd probably try to find, kids who have something they love doing and they're good at, and just try to help them, focus on that and find resources to help them focus on that thing to help. Yeah. That's one thing I hate about school. Like, you got all these kids in school, and then you're telling them to learn this, but instead of finding what they're good at and then just focusing, that on that.
That's why homeschooling is a very legitimate option.
Yeah, for sure.
And now not everybody can homeschool because there's a burden and it's hard to be able to do that. But man, if we had like the Apogee program that Tim Kennedy and those guys started.
I was just thinking about that.
Bro,
that'd be cool.
You would be awesome to be a part of one of those, man.
Yeah. Have we talked about the partnership that he's got with Leif at their gym? So that like the Apogee in Dripping Springs actually uses Stoic Jiu-Jitsu for their PE classes. Yeah.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, which is super cool when you look at like just the fundamentals and the things that they're teaching. It's right along the lines of what you're talking about.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely 100%. Let's find the kids something that they can be interested in that's going to be more productive than getting on scooters and crab walking in a gym like we had to do in 3rd and 4th grade. Like, here, let's learn a skill.
Well, now they don't even make them do that.
I know.
Because that might be too physically demanding and you might offend somebody.
Yeah, that's insane.
My kids are going to be offended a lot. Just already.
That's what
by the lack of
No, just by their parents. They are learning right now how to combat offense from their dad.
Heck yeah.
I love what you said, man. Find things that you enjoy that you can learn from, and then help them find resources to get them involved in that. I know the Apogee program, they have a school in Keller, and we were going to put the girls in it, but unfortunately, because they don't have enough of a demand right now, it only goes up to 6th grade.
Oh, dang.
And they just had started 7th grade,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they're homeschooling right now. But okay, so you explained why you wanted to go in the military.
Mm-hmm.
You were very self-aware, like, hey, I'm going to be dead or in prison. Like, if I keep up with this type of lifestyle. So you found an awesome recruiter, a year of his life to help you get in the military. What was your job in the Army?
11 Bravo, infantry.
Infantry,
All the
let's
way,
go.
yep.
Come on, my
That's
man.
all I can tell you. The reason, all I did was watch Army movies growing up, and I loved the combat movies. And then when I found out you can join the Army and not be in combat, I thought that was weird. I was like, I thought the Army was fighting. Like, no, man, you can be an S1 or S communications, S6 or
Which we
structure.
need those
No,
positions.
yeah, it's all
Yeah.
legit. Yeah, I mean, we need some guys to help us do stuff. But but I was like, when I walked in, I think that's one reason why he kind of knew it wouldn't be as hard easier. I think because I walked in, he's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" I was like, "Infantry, man. I want to go to war." And he was like, "All right." He's like, "That's
Yeah,
easy."
cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's like, "I still got to make take the ASVAB, just because you have to." But he's like, "You should be good, bro. If that's what you want to do." And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, I grew up watching it. I loved it.
Yeah.
The movies. So
I love how you said that. You're like, I didn't know people could join the Army and not
be-
go
Yeah.
in combat.
But you know what's crazy? A lot of people think that.
No, I
it's
agree.
insane.
I know. Well,
Yeah.
I thought once I made it into the SEAL teams, like I thought we were doing missions all over the world
Yeah.
all the time because of movies and
Yeah.
books that I had read, I mean, the greatest documentary of the SEAL teams, Navy SEALs with Charlie Sheen.
Heck yeah.
Oh man. Okay. So let's talk about your deployment to Afghanistan. What was the training cycle like? I mean, because at this time it's what, 2011?
10.
Okay, so it's 2010. I mean, we've been at war for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Things are starting to shift over to Afghanistan time frame. So let's talk about what was the training cycle like to prepare you guys for Afghanistan. Like, what were you guys hearing? What'd you think?
So all my training was on the job training.
Okay.
Besides basic. I
Right.
went to basic and AIT in April 2010. Right off the bat, my PT score was good, thanks to my friend's dad and working out and everything. I got a Ranger contract right off the bat. Went to basic AIT in Georgia, Fort Benning. I don't know what it's called now.
Fort Benning.
Yeah, Fort Benning. When it was home of the infantry, now it's everything. Did my 16 weeks there. Then I went to airborne school. Didn't get to do airborne school because I got in trouble. I got caught with some alcohol in the girls' barracks. Yeah, the girls were on the first floor.
Wow.
And I was we were supposed to stay out of the girls' area.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Why put them in the same building? Oh, like, anyways,
Yeah.
whatever.
And yeah.
It's the 13th grade for some people. It's like
Oh.
glorified college.
You're 100%. All right, females are going to be on the second deck. Men are on the second. Do not go up to the second deck or do not go down the first deck. We're a bunch of 18, 19, 20-year-olds. Okay. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Good idea.
And if you
What
go
could
down
go
the
wrong?
stairs through the area, you better run through it. So, but yeah, I think that was just a test. I think they did on purpose, for discipline, and I failed. so yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. So you get caught
Yeah.
underage drinking or possession of alcohol, whatever. You had it
Was I
with
underage
you.
All of the above.
Oh yeah, I wasn't underage at the time. So yeah,
Yeah, underage.
that's okay.
MIP.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, so I got recycled. They put me in holdover. I was supposed to wait 3 weeks for the next class to start for airborne school. Fort Polk called. I was like, hey, you got an infantry guy sitting around. We're deploying in 3 weeks. We need infantry guys. And like, hey, we got one right here. So, yeah, I didn't get to go to airborne school.
Oh,
They shipped me off.
and you would have gone to Ranger after that.
Yeah, I would have went to RASP, and I would have had a nice little, hopefully, a nice little tab.
Yeah,
But
would have had that Ranger
so good.
tab for
Yeah.
sure.
But yeah, so luckily I don't get to be that cool. Yeah, so I got Fort Polk. I got there and I remember that they called me down to battalion. They're like, all right, we're gonna figure out what company we're sending you to, and they give me my orders. I was like, all right, you're going to 2-4 Bravo Company, yeah, for 10th Mountain. I was like, 10th Mountain? I thought I was in New York. And they're like, oh, we got the redheaded stepchild down here at Fort Polk. And I was like, okay, cool. So I was in Mountain Division, but in the swamps. And, yeah, I know. And the guy gave me my orders. They give me to some, I can't remember his name. It was a specialist. They're like, hey, drive him to Bravo Company. And I get in the car. He's like, you on a Bravo Company? I was like, yeah. He's like, good luck. Don't get stabbed. And I was like, what?
What does that mean?
Apparently, on the weekends, they like to get drunk and just stab each other. So I was like, all right, well, this is going to be fun. I was like, I'm back home, I guess. And
You're like, this sounds like my people.
You're like,
Yeah.
I tried to leave this.
yeah, I was like, God dang. So I was like, all right. So I get there. They set me in front of the first sergeant's office and the commander's office. And it was me and another dude, Mortimer. He was with 11 Charlie. And we're sitting there. He was all, gung-ho, all down for it until one of the squad leaders come out. Sergeant Guido, he's my boy. I love him to death. He came out. He's like, y'all know you're all going to war like in a week, right? And I was like, no, but that's cool. Another guy, right when he said that, oh, man, suicide watch through the roof. Yes, dude. I was like, how?
Whoa.
Yes. I was like, how you join the combat MOS being a mortarman and you're going to get scared all of a sudden you find
And while the war is going on.
Yeah, while the war, yes. And so he starts getting all timid and it's like, you can tell he's like freaking out already, like, letting his mind playing games on him. And so Staff Sergeant Guida and I think it was Sergeant Keeper, one of the other ones, they kept coming in just messing with us, talking crap, Just
they're feeding off
yeah,
of
they're
him.
trying to, and they're trying to see, they're gauging like, all right, because I think Sergeant Keeper was Alpha Company and then Sergeant Guida was Bravo Company, which I was in. So they're trying to fill us out. Like, all right, there's two. We need one. We're gonna see which one we like, And they kept coming in and talking stuff, and I get up and like, I'm laughing. I don't think everything's funny. Like, especially when you're like harassing me, I'm just like, okay, bro, you're just laughing it off, being a little, smart butt every now and then.
Smart Alex.
Smart Alec.
Yeah, smart Alec.
Alec.
And they went back, and then I guess Sergeant Keeper didn't know. Sergeant Guida ran back to the front and grabbed me. He's like, Kennedy, you're Bravo Company. Go tell First Sergeant. I was like, roger that. So I go in and tell First Sergeant Bravo Company. Sergeant Keeper comes around the corner. He's like, what are you doing here? I was like, Staff Sergeant Guida told me to tell First Sergeant I'm in Bravo Company. He's like, what? He's like, we didn't even have the meeting yet. He got pissed
Because he was trying to grab you.
because they were trying to meet. Like, all right,
Nice.
we got to, like, I guess they're going to do some kind of thing to see who gets who.
Flip a coin.
Yeah. But,
You're a
first.
little default aggressive,
heck
man.
yeah.
Let's go.
And I'm so glad he did it, man, because I love Guida to death. There's going to be later stories with that, too, if we get into it.
No,
Some of them.
Oh, I hope we do.
Oh,
Yes.
well, we will, but some of them are not content friendly, so those will be left out. But it was good times. But
I'll be the judge of that.
oh yeah, we got editing power and everything.
Yeah,
I
this ain't
forgot.
live.
Heck yeah,
Yeah.
sweets. Just real quick, since you brought up that live thing, and you called Josh the other day on the podcast.
Yep.
Ashley was like, he better be so glad he didn't call you. It's like, because I was like, well, he did. As soon as Josh answered, he was like, hey, be aware, you're alive right now.
Oh, I'm quick on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
I was like, especially JP probably would have texted me before. I was like, just because he knows.
But you also, okay, so shout out to your wife for that, her trying to, keep things
She
good.
tries
But
to keep me on track.
also, not once have I ever called you because, most of the time it's either business related
Yeah.
or I have my family with me.
Yeah, for sure.
You're not like, woo, saying stupid stuff.
yeah.
You're always like, what's up, bro?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that's literally your default is
Yeah.
like, what's up, bro?
Heck yeah.
Because you're professional and you know that. And there's
Yeah.
and now if it's you and me on the road, like
Yeah,
we'll
yeah,
joke,
yeah.
or, whatever, be boys. It's like Jocko talks about when, we're doing something for an FTX or whatever, we're just hanging out for dinner. Like he always jokes about how the E5 Jocko comes out. And he's like, I got to keep it in check.
Yeah.
So-
We had that little moment in Michigan when Leif was there.
Oh, yeah. That was amazing.
Leif's like, what's going on? Like, nothing, sir. It's
Nothing,
fine.
sir. Leif and Jocko are definitely of the boys. So, okay. So you end up in Bravo Company,
Yeah.
and then now
Oh, yeah.
you're
So
leaving for war. What in a
3 weeks, I think.
jeez.
Wow.
Yeah. So I had basic and AIT, and then Sergeant Guida, they put me. I tell First Sergeant and Commander that I'm with going to be with Bravo Company. They put me in Bravo Company 3rd Platoon. I was with Sergeant Guida was Weapons Squad, so I was with Sergeant. Yeah, Weapons Squad was nice. I didn't get to go over there, but I was in 3rd Squad, Bravo team, and at first I had a 320 and M4, and I was pumped. I was like, man, I get to freaking lob 40 mics at people. Heck
Yes.
yeah. Yeah, so we're about to deploy. You know, time goes by. It's like, you go home yet? I was like, no. I was like, I went basic in April, airborne school, and then straight here. They're like, all right, well, we're going to send you home. We're going to find somebody in Dallas, you know, so you can go home because you're about to deploy. And you ain't been home in months. And I was like, all right, cool. So they find another Sergeant Oliver who was he was ex-Ranger. He was from Dallas. So like, hey, you know the area. You live in Dallas. Take him home. Make sure he doesn't go AWOL. And because the other guy, you know, so they're just talking crap, you know, because the other guy's being a little wuss.
I forgot.
Yes.
There are men that do that.
Yes. And
Really?
yes.
Like before deployment, just disappear.
Yep.
Wait.
After boot camp, disappear. After schooling, disappear.
There's some guys who took their leave like 2 months in, didn't come back, and they had to go find them.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
There's
reserve my
I remember watching-
commentary about
Yeah.
certain.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember watching. There was a few flights like I'd be on, like going on leave or coming back from leave or whatever, and you knew like there'd be two MPs escorting somebody home with handcuffs on the flight.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're like, yeah, they went AWOL.
Heck yeah.
So, anyways, so you get to go home.
Yeah, so we come home, hang out, you know, I try to see all my friends and family. I think I was good until I think the day before we drove back to Fort Polk. I was sitting in my truck waiting for my friend to get out of work. Cause I just hung out with him all day. He was installing ACs.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, I'll just drive around with you and help you, man. I don't care.
That's cool.
And he went back to the warehouse, was dropping off stuff, and I'm sitting in the truck waiting. You know, I'm texting my mom, my friends, and stuff, and I'm sitting there just putting my phone down, just thinking. And I was like, man, I go to Afghanistan like 3 days. And I was like, you know, I started to get a little teary eyed. I'm like, all right, I can die, I can lose something, I'm gonna lose some friends. That's when it really hit. And I started tearing up a little bit, and then I see my friend come in the mirror, and I'm like, man up, bro. You know, I'm like,
These allergies.
yeah. I was like, man up, don't think about it no more. And then we hang out that night, have a good time. I call Oliver. I'm like, hey, I'm here. If you can come pick me up. He picks me up. We drive back home or back to Fort Polk. I check in. Sergeant Guida's there, and he was like, it's just after a couple weeks go by. Our platoon sergeant called us out, Sergeant First Class Jenkins, which is amazing. Another amazing human being, man. He was in the Army forever, multiple deployments.
Yeah.
He calls us all down to, Jesus Christ, the company. I keep mixing up the words.
Yep,
the company before the first flight takes off for the first group of men. And, you know, he has a little speech. He's like, I think this was his second time in Afghanistan. And he was like, hey, you know, some of y'all only been to Iraq. I've never been to Iraq, so I don't know, you know, how the true these words are. But he was like, the Afghans, this is going to be totally different. These guys are, if they fight you, they're going to be fighting you. Yeah. He's like, they're going to hit you. You know, he's like, I haven't lost anybody yet, luckily, to me. He's like, I haven't lost anybody under me. But he's like, I really can't promise you guys this time. He's like, I can't promise that every one of y'all is going to come home in one piece. And, you know, that kind of messed with everybody, especially hearing your platoon sergeant say that after he's been like on 4 or 5 deployments.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're just like, all right. And then he's like, you know, the first group leaves tomorrow, blah, blah, go to your rooms, pack up whatever little stuff y'all need, and just get ready to go. So I go back to my room, and I don't know why Sergeant Guida came to my dang room. I think he's just because I'm new, and he's just, I think he's trying to make me feel like, you know, good, and like, I think, you know, he wants to joke, you know, keep me calm and not frantic, because, you know, he don't really know me. I've only been there a couple weeks.
You've only been in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So, you know, I think he's still trying to fill me out, because, dude, man, before I got there, they did a whole mountain training in Utah for like 2 months, so I missed all that training. They went somewhere else for training for, you know, mountain warfare. I didn't get to do any of that. So, you know, he's probably, you know, thinking I'm like, you know, worried and nervous, and I'm just like, whatever, it's better than being home working 2 damn jobs.
Yeah.
You know,
he doesn't understand your mental space. Yeah.
So I'm good. I'm like, I'm ready to go, man. Like,
this is
you know,
awesome.
You know how many movies I watched for this? You know,
like I get a paycheck on the 1st and 15th, and every
yeah.
month I get leave, vision, medical, dental.
Yep.
This is go.
free
Let's go.
food. And then I found out you can request to put your pay in, and you get it all on the first.
Yeah.
So I found that out. So I was like, all right, I got this much to splurge, this much for whatever else. I'm good. But he comes to my room, he bangs on my door, and he's like, oh, I can't say that word. What are you doing, wussy?
Meow meow. That's how we
Yeah.
say it on
He's
the
like,
show.
yeah.
That's a good little. I like that. I like that edit there,
Yeah.
man.
He's
like, "What's up, you wussy?"
Heck yeah. He's like, what are you doing, wussy? I was like, just getting ready. You know, I'm all like, still brand new. I'm like, just getting ready, Staff Sergeant. Make sure I got everything squared away. He's like, all right, just making sure you ain't gonna run off in the middle of the night, go AWOL and be a little punk. And I was like, no, man.
You're like, I want this.
Yeah, I was like, I'm down, dude. I ain't got nothing else. Where am I gonna go? And he's like, all right, I'll come get you in the morning for your flight. He bangs on my door. I open the door. He's like, oh, man, you're still here. And I was like, I told you I wasn't going nowhere. He's like, all right. He's like, well, you look like so you'd be scared to go. I figured you'd run away.
Oh,
And,
I missed that from the military.
Oh, I know, dude. And it was just, I just, you know, starting, like I said, starting with is a good dude. And, yeah, I mean, we got on the bus, took us to the airport, flew to Maine, and then from Maine to Ireland. And we had like a delay there for some reason. And apparently, when we landed there.
Oh, shucks.
Yeah, no, right? Mm-hmm. But we weren't allowed to leave the hotel.
Oh.
Yeah, it sucked. Oh, I was gonna say
I
something.
also wasn't supposed to leave base in Spain, however.
Yeah, I know. I was still the new guy, man. I was nervous.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
No, that was me coming back from my first deployment.
Yeah.
We stopped in Rota, Spain. You know, it's always very unique where the airplanes tend to break down for the night.
Heck yeah.
Dude, those
They know what they're
aircrews know
doing.
exactly what they're doing.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah, we broke down in Rota, Spain, and it was like, no one's able to leave base. We're like, yep, roger that. Yeah.
Yeah, so when we
Is
landed.
this why you were labeled a Liberty Risk?
That's one of the reasons. Actually, nobody knew about it. I don't think
that.
I've ever shared that,
Yeah.
you know. So, yeah.
Heck yeah.
If you're listening to my previous leadership now, shout out to myself, Steve Chiron, if you guys that went out, had a good night. So you're stuck in Ireland.
Yeah, we got stuck in Ireland. I don't know if this is true or not. Apparently, there was like some kind of big protest going on at the time. They're like, they made us make sure all of our windows were covered on the bus, and then they might have just said that so we didn't leave the hotel either. But
Didn't want you to be
yeah.
taken by all the redheads.
Oh, and that was a problem.
Amazing.
We got there, and the girls who worked in the bar was a problem, and I was like, they're like, get in your room. That was lit. They're like, get in your room, and I was like, we're all like, Roger, because I think it was only a couple squads, you know, because I can't even remember what they're called, man, the flight things. But anyway, sticks or whatever.
Sticks. Yeah.
And so we hung out there a couple of days, just stuck in the room. We're all mad because we can't walk around Ireland and check out the view because none of us been to Ireland before.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
Yeah, so we're like, well, this is
gorgeous,
like we can look out our window.
But I also understand why they do that.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, you're on the way to deployment.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you bring all your guys.
I mean,
there.
they could have did a field trip like we did in school. All right, everybody hold hands. Let's go walk up this mountain, you know. But they didn't.
Yeah.
They do. They treat us like kids anyway the whole time. You know, they have to. So.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their moving buddy.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, we did. We left. Then we left Ireland. I think we stopped in. Where the hell was it? Bulgaria.
Oh, Bulgaria. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we stopped
Sofia?
in Bulgaria and then straight to Manas. Did you say it? Manas?
Sure.
Whatever. Yeah, and then we stayed there for 2 weeks, and then straight to Bagram.
Wow.
And then from Bagram to Saddabad.
Jeez. Okay.
Heck yeah.
So what's your plane touches down? You're in Afghanistan. You're getting off the plane. What's it like? What time of the year?
It was right before wintertime.
Cold.
It was October.
Was it cold there?
Oh, when it got wintertime. Heck yeah. Dude.
Yeah.
It was freezing.
Bet you wish you had this Origin jean
And it's-
jacket.
I know, man. That jacket, or even the small kilo hoodie, that thing keeps you freaking
Yeah.
warm.
The
Oh,
Origin
dude.
Kilo hoodie
It's
is
insane.
Yeah.
We were in
and the heavy
Colorado.
hoodie.
I haven't had that one. I don't need that one. That kilo one. I was in Colorado hiking up a mountain one day when we went there for vacation.
Yeah.
And it was pouring. It was snowing. I was like, babe, I'm gonna go relive my Afghan days real quick. I'm gonna walk up this mountain for no reason and come back. And she's like, okay.
There's so much just to being able to go do that.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I had to take it off halfway up. I was like, I'm hot. I'm sweating. It was burning up.
Yeah, the Origin hoodies are unreal. All their stuff is great.
Heck yeah.
All right, so you get there. It's October. You're getting off the plane. What's the situation like?
Well, supposedly the situation was from, I can't remember his damn name, one of the staff sergeants. He was like, all right, they usually mortar the hell out of the helipad when we land. He's like, so grab your all stuff and run. So everyone's like, oh, So as that they open the side of the Black Hawk, we grab our stuff, we're trying to run, everybody's falling, chipping, and he's just there laughing his freaking butt off, dude. We look back, he's like, yo, idiots. He's like, get up. They're like, what? They don't do it? He's like, they do it sometimes, but I just do it because y'all fall down every time and it's funny. They were like, God dang.
This is amazing.
Yeah, dude. So, we get there.
It's free entertainment.
Yeah, it's still shifting between, fall, wintertime, whatever. It was nice. Our first cop was Syedabad, which was built up. It's been there for a little while. Pretty nice.
And for our listeners, a cop is a combat outpost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, we had the little Connex buildings for our barracks. One little Connex AFI store where they do deliveries every week, and we can go buy little chips or whatever we can miss from home. Had a big defect. I got a good defect story. Yeah, and we got there. We got in our rooms. We got our little bays. Wintertime comes around. It's freezing.
Are you going out on combat operations right away, or?
Oh yeah, I think the day we got there, it was me, Guida, and Fireball. I think it was a small group of us, and the very first firefight of our unit, they got ambushed right outside of Tangi Valley on MSR1. I can't remember the other village I was right there.
MSR is military supply route, correct?
Yes, military supply route.
So that's how they would label the roads. Okay.
Yeah, and it was the only major highway going through. I think it went all the way from north to south, or south to north, all the way up. And that was just IED heaven. And, we hear it on the radio. We just got there. So Guida's like, grab your stuff, get in the MRAP. We start loading up. We throw 50 cal rounds on the dang top of the truck. We get the 50 ready. And then it was just Fireball's going to drive, Guida's TC, and then me on the gun. And I guess the ambush only lasted a little while, but luckily nobody got hit that time. They come back, and then after that we start rolling. But then wintertime hit, and it starts snowing. Everything shut down. Firefight stopped. It was just too much snow. Like Taliban didn't want to do nothing. We didn't want to do nothing. Yeah. So we just hung out, QRF.
I mean, they're crazy mountain fighters.
Oh, for sure. But it died down a lot.
Yeah, they don't have the gear that we have.
Yeah.
Well, now they do.
Oh, yeah. Thanks.
Thanks a lot. Whatever. Yeah. But, so it slows down.
Yeah, it died a lot. It was just for a couple months, it was a lot of freezing tower guard. And we would make little fires in the ammo cans, and the raid camera would see him like, is that smoke coming out of your tower? We're like, no. They're like, no fires in the tower. It's not fire. We promise. And, we'd get in trouble for that. And, they really didn't care.
You're freezing.
Yeah. But after a while, they're like, all right, let's put propane heaters in there. That was a bad idea. One blew up.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, so all right, no more.
That would be horrible to have a propane bottle up in the tower if you get attacked and shot at.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a very negative situation.
Yeah, it was bad. So then they're like, all right, one blew up. Luckily, nobody got hurt.
No kidding.
Like, they have the red camera. You can see, like, the fire come out the window. It just, like, busts real quick. And so, like, all right, we're taking that away. So we're just, I think the one good thing that the Army does make is their winter gear. Like winter sleeping bag and the Michelin man suit is off the chain. Yes. It was warm. And, like, we're on tower guard in the Michelin man suit, standing up with the beanbag up to here, and the hoodie and the beanie down to here, and we're just watching, freezing. And it was slow, wintertime, but man, as soon as that snow started melting, I went home. I took my leave early. I was like, I want to go home, come right back. I don't want to.
Because how long was your deployment going to be? 15 months?
13 months.
Okay, 13 months. So they give you 2 weeks to go home. Mm-hmm. So you do it right at the very beginning just to knock it out.
Yeah. Okay. I was like, I don't want to go middle. I was like, I'd rather just get it out of the way. I try not to go at all. I was like, I don't really want to go. And like, we have to. And I was like, okay. Right. So I go home. I'm
going to go back to Ireland for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I should have. My friends went to Australia. I was like, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. And they didn't invite me, but whatever. Benning, if you're listening. So like Benning and Fireball and someone else went to Australia, and they loved it. And I go back to Dallas, hang out for a little bit. As soon as we get back, man, firefighters popping every day. Yeah. We're in a firefight every day. Our towers are getting lit up. We had some young dude. It sucks. He was young, military age though. He started shooting at our blimp with a bolt-action rifle.
Yeah.
I swear it was like $81,000, dude.
Yeah.
And they call a squad out, like, hey, we got somebody shooting at a blimp. They go out there to the turret, tell them to stop shooting. And then he decides it's funny to shoot around at us or at them, and they light him up. But
Play stupid games, win
heck
stupid
yeah.
prizes.
He was just trying to shoot the blimp down, apparently.
Well, because he was told to go do that
Yeah.
from somebody else that
There you
probably
go.
threatened him and his family.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
because
they
he was young.
manipulate people.
Yeah, and I mean it sucked, but
Yeah, when he starts shooting at you, it's like, hey,
yeah. And they had the Turk with him. He told him to stop shooting and leave, but he didn't. And yeah, I mean, I'm getting lost now.
No, you're good.
I got like so much stuff
It's
rushing
okay.
through my mind, dude.
Hey, whatever. Hey, but and that's why we prayed before. Is like
Yeah.
I want it to be natural conversation, and whatever comes to your mind, we talk about. If you forget it, who cares? And if later you're like, oh, I should have talked about this. Well, we can always record more episodes
For
together.
sure, for
So
sure.
whatever's on your mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna get back from leave. Missions pop up like crazy. We're doing week rotations. Certain platoon would go out for 1 week on missions. One platoon would be on QRF, another platoon on tower guard and ECP guard, and whoever's extra either helped filling HESCOs or helping with KP duty, stuff like that. And
KP is kitchen.
Yeah,
patrol?
kitchen detail,
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kitchen detail.
I think it was KP, something like that.
Yeah, it is.
And yeah, man, it was going crazy. But then we had Charlie Company in Tangi Valley. They had a small cop there, and they were getting destroyed. Like, I mean, everybody knows if they know anything about Afghanistan, Tangi Valley is just the worst. Yeah, and they're getting hammered in there, and they lost. They had a lot of guys. They lost a couple of dudes, and a lot of guys got injured. So we had to shut that cop down. Like, we can't sustain it. We're mission. We're not mission capable anymore with the amount of guys they lost.
That many.
Yeah. Like a lot of them just getting injured mostly.
Yeah. Is this
And they lost a few.
2011 now?
It's 2000. No, it's 2010.
Still 2010.
Yes. Yeah. It's to 2010. This was 3 months in. Or, yeah, this was about a month after wintertime.
Okay.
So about March, May. So then the ANA and some combat engineers just built a brand new COP right next to a French police training compound right outside of Chalk Valley, which was going to be our new AO for our platoon. And so we had to do a 2-week mission in Tangi where we took over a school and we lived in there for 2 weeks so we can provide security for Charlie to pull out. And that was wild. It was, dude, these guys literally walking up to the school shooting at us from the bazaar and from everywhere. And it's not really funny, but the first night we took it over at like 2 a.m. We walked in from MSR1 from a little cop we had set up, and nobody knew it was there. We're staying off the road because we know Tangi Valley is laced with IEDs like crazy.
Yeah.
So we're like, all right, we're gonna walk through the wadis and the greens and stuff. So we walk through there. There's a little hill we're trying to get up, and we got this guy named Ford. Just a quick little background on him because it's a pretty funny story. He was a virgin when he joined. He was probably like 20.
So was I. Let's go.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Virgin?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I was waiting until I was going to get married.
Dang.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I was raised real strong Christian background family, and
Yeah.
I was waiting until I was going to get married.
Dang.
Yeah.
I'll never guess that.
Yeah.
That's rude.
I know. It was good, and it's like, it was. Anyways, we'll talk about that
For
later.
sure.
But
My
it
bad,
was one.
yeah.
No, you're good. It was like one of those things where I got a lot of flack for it.
Yeah. I'm sure.
In the military.
Yeah.
And when my buds instructors found out about it, they were like, and shout out to Johnny Idonacy, one of the officers in my buds class. He actually pulled the instructors aside because they were like, and he was like, hey, like,
Cut it.
yeah, but think about that. He's a student going through buds. But because it bothered him, and he the joking is fine, but then it started to get it was past the joking and it was starting to be unprofessional.
Yeah.
And I just remember I was like, wow, that's impressive. think about the risk he took as a student in Buds. Yeah. He pulled the instructors aside and actually had a conversation with them
actually had
as an officer to enlist. Yeah, he did.
Crazy. Yeah, he had
to. I was just always, we'll talk about that later, maybe or on another episode. But yeah, so anyway, so Ford, I'm willing to bet the picture you're painting is he's probably a very sheltered, naive kind of kid.
Yeah, he's a super good kid. We tease him, but we looked out for him all the time.
Yeah,
I don't do bullying very well with other people either. Mm-mm. And so I looked out for him. A lot of guys looked out for him. Nobody really did him bad. Yeah. We just pulled his chain every now and then.
Yeah, it was your boy.
Yeah, and it was funny because he's climbing up the hill. He's not that big. He's not a big dude. A little short, regular sized dude. Didn't work out really besides PT. Mm-hmm. And we're lugging everywhere we went. We had 2 60s in our bag because we always had a mortar team with us. We had 3-man mortar team with us with a 60 tube. So every single one of us, except I think even AGs, we all had 2 60s in our bag.
How much do those weigh each? Do you think?
I have no clue. I'd have to test my boy.
Yeah,
yeah, a lot.
Yeah,
right. This is not like a medium-sized loadoth. Like this is,
dude. We carry everything. On our XO would be like, why is your company the only company that has the highest ammo expenditure? We're like, because if you shoot one round at us, we're shooting thousands back at you. We're like, and that's what our platoon sergeant said. He's like, I don't care if they shoot one round. He's like, everybody's opening up on that dude, and which is crazy. And I really honestly think this is
42
true.
42 pounds piece.
Yes, they were heavy.
Yeah.
So so I don't think the AGs and the machine gunners carried them. But if you just had an M4, they're like, you're carrying a round. You're carrying a mortar. And I was all about it.
Let's go.
Yeah, I was all about it. And so he had the tube and he had an AT4 on the side of his rucksack. And he's trying to climb up this hill. And as he gets to the top, he's like, all right, guys, I made it. And he leans too far back. And that weight, and he just rolls all the way back down.
Oh.
It was hilarious, man. He gets so butthurt.
Was he hurt?
No, he was fine. Except for his ego.
He didn't get hurt.
No, he was
like
good.
Actually injured.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was just a steep, not a really steep, but it was like, so he kind of rolled.
Still,
just turtle rolled down. But it was good though. He got to the bottom. We took the stuff off and we took the 60s out so he can get back up there. And then we put him back when we got it to the top.
How frustrated was he that he had to take the gear off of him?
Oh, he was pissed, dude, because he couldn't get up. He looked like a turtle, upside down turtle, because the way he fell. It was freaking funny, man. And I mean, I can't.
Just the legs flailing in the air.
Yeah, dude. And I mean, you can't really say that because it happened to a lot of us. We're carrying AT4s through trees. We get hooked them on a tree, and you fly back like this, and you're just like, you just want to throw everything on the ground and be like, I'm going
like
home.
A child.
I'm done with this. Yes, you get pissed. Like, when your belt loop gets caught on the door, it's just like that.
Yeah.
It sucks, and you get angry for no reason.
That only seems to happen when you're angry.
Yes.
And you get mad, you're trying to leave a room real dramatically, and then you start to slam the door, and it's stuck to you, and you're like, oh,
heck yeah.
You know what I meant.
Yeah. But, so when we get to the school, it was like 2 a.m. after the long walk. It was a couple miles. Clicks, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
And nobody knows we're there. School's about to start. You see all these kids and teenagers walking up. And we're looking through, they had the little push window things, whatever they're called. We open them up, and they just see us with rifles. And you just hear, ah! And everybody just turns around and run, and we're just waving at them. We're like, hey, let them know we're here. We're just hanging out. We just need this building for a couple weeks, and then we'll leave. And then after that, Creek Company started pulling out, and it was just, dude, firefight. IED just going crazy. We finally get all of Creek Company out, and then we're like, where are we going? We don't have enough rooms, or we don't have enough bays for you. Like, oh, y'all moving to Dostope. Y'all going to start a brand new compound with a brand new AO where NATO hasn't been in 7 years. And we're like,
whoa.
Oh,
what
cool.
could go wrong?
Yeah, we're like, sweet, this awesome. But so at first, we're all butthurt about it. When we get there, brand new facility, man. Dude, nice showers, nice laundry room, nice defect. Oh no, hold on, it sounds amazing, dude. It's like porcelain. To us, it looks like porcelain, fancy, man. Oh man, we're at Ballroom right now, dude. This is sweet. And did I get too far away?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You self-corrected.
Yeah.
I was getting ready to push, but no, that was good.
That was nice.
And
his self-awareness is extremely high all the time.
And we get there, we're all pumped. We're like, oh heck yeah, we'll stay here. SF had a little compound inside our compound, but then A&A was at the front with their little compound. We didn't like that. But when we found out they're helping with Tower Guard, we're like, oh, that's fine. Y'all can hang out here.
Oh wait, actually,
yeah.
since you
go ahead. And oh man, it was probably like, I can't remember if it was before they killed Bin Laden, your buddies, or after, before or after. But man, it wasn't long after we got there. We're excited, you know. We're like, oh, this next 7 months is gonna be great. We got laundry, we got nice showers, we got a nice facility. Some Taliban decided it would be cool to drive a 2,000-pound V-bit up to our base and blow it, and we lost everything.
Vehicle-borne IED.
Gotcha.
Yes, it was just a giant jingle truck, basically a big dump truck,
Full of explosives.
just full of explosives.
1 ton of explosives.
Yes.
You said two. Oh yeah.
2,000. I don't know.
Yeah.
What is it? 2 point something, whatever.
Yeah.
1 point, whatever. I'm not, numbers ain't my thing. Unless it's like 45-pound plates.
I was gonna say numbers are your thing. I know that.
You start throwing the alphabet and decimals and stuff in there, I'm going.
I don't do fractions.
Yeah. But yeah. And now it's crazy because it was our
2,000-pound V-bit, bro.
huge. Yeah, dude just drove it up and blew himself up. And this was when we were on mission cycle in that time, and it was the day after I broke my foot in a firefight. And no, it's not a cool story.
But it doesn't matter. You broke your foot.
No,
That sucks.
I wait until you hear the story.
I'm not saying I'm not going to make fun of you, but
I know,
I'm just saying
right?
that sucks. You broke your foot.
So we pushed our first, I don't know, half mile into Chalk Valley where no one's been. IDs were getting hit like crazy. The first time we went there, we did an air assault into the district center, and this was just so we can get eyes on and figure out how it is, because I think that's where we're going to build the next bigger cop. And man, I think we got picked up early in the morning, landed probably like at 2-3 in the morning, and you know, everybody, you can hear Chinook coming in, so they knew we were there.
Yeah.
So spotters were out everywhere, because as soon as the sun hit, I think the first day we took like 72 mortars of HE and white phosphorus.
Good
It was nuts.
grief, dude.
72
Yes.
mortars.
It was-
So what's I've heard a lot about white phosphorus. Like, you read a lot about it. What is like, explain to us what that is.
Man, so when
For
we
the NCCs
well,
out
when
here
we
that
saw
have
the
never
white
seen it or
phosphorus
heard
blow up, we didn't know what it was. We
Right.
just saw everything around it catch on fire, and we're like, "What is that?" And then one of the NCOs was like, he just told everybody to run. He's like, "Run aside now." So we're all booking it, running in, and then apparently it's just like an acid, right? Like a flammable acid.
I think so. I
Yeah, he's
don't
like,
know.
if that thing lands in your vicinity, like in its blast radius, they're like, it's going to melt your skin off, and your clothes going to melt into you.
It'll melt through you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good grief.
There's no protection from it,
No,
right?
no, I don't think so.
And that's what they're doing right now over in Russia and Ukraine is drones
Is
are
it white
dropping.
phosphorus?
Yeah,
Oh, I
they're
didn't know that.
they're dropping white phosphorus from drones on tree lines, and then the actual soldiers hiding in there.
Good grief.
Yeah,
dude.
Joel Anderson.
Yep.
That we had. Him and I have been talking about it, and he's been sending me some videos, and it's just disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, it's absolutely. Anyways,
Dude,
sorry.
no, you're good.
72 mortars.
Yeah, I believe the first day was 72 mortars. It was nuts. And we get to the we make it all the way to the compound, to the DC chalk. It was right before dam, and we're like, we're not crossing that dam. But so we stop. We're like, this is where we're gonna build the next little cop, and you know, we're gonna build small little outposts for A and A&P on the way there. You know, for little checkpoints. And so we get there, we evaluate it. You know, the big wigs do whatever they do when they get to a spot they like, and yeah, we're getting mortared. I remember we're along this building, and they're like, "Hey, get up on that hill over there." It looked like an old A&P compound that hasn't been used in forever. Like, there's a couple of HESCOs, but a lot of them are blowing out. All the sand's out. There's a little cover up there, not much, little micro terrain. And they're like, "Third squad, Sergeant Isley, take your guys up there and check it out." He said, "All right, Roger." As soon as we take off, going up the hill, mortars are hitting again, sniper fire. You just hear crack, 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 and we're just sprinting, trying to run as fast as we can up this damn hill, because there's nothing there until you got to the hill. So you can't, you're not getting cover unless you want to low crawl the way up. And I was like, I'm not low crawling up this hill. I'm running this whole way. So we all make it up there, luckily. Oh yeah, dude. We're all running. We get up to the hill. We duck down behind the. Sorry, I keep moving around too much.
No, you're fine.
We duck down behind the few HESCOs that are up there. I remember I'm just sitting against the HESCO like this, just like I'm just watching just mortars hit around me. and I'm a little blurred because I actually had a helmet cam, and I thought I hit record, but it didn't record.
Oh,
Because this one was like one of the
bummer.
best ones. I remember sitting there, I'm just like smiling, I'm just like laughing, like, because like even when I'm in pain, I laugh. I don't like my massage therapist. She thinks it's the weirdest shit.
Yeah, it's all good.
She thinks it's the weirdest thing. Like, she's tearing me up. Like, I do nothing but deep tissue. And I'm laughing. Like, I'm biting a towel, laughing. Like, it's the funniest thing. She's like, I'm sorry. She's like, I can't concentrate. Wait. I was like, I'm sorry. I was like, I'm not going to cry or scream. I was like, I don't know how to do anything else.
It's how you handle
Yeah.
it.
So, yeah, I'm sitting there on this HESCO, and I'm just laughing, just looking around like, this is crazy. I can't believe this is real. Like, this is really here. Because this is, like, I think the craziest thing so far, besides, getting shot at a few times.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I'm really getting murdered right now. This is a movie. This is like the movies, man. I'm getting all pumped. I was like, man. And I look over and I see Sergeant Isley, Fireball, PD, and they're all huddled together. And like, why are you laughing, Kennedy? This ain't funny, man. And I'm like, this is really happening. This is for real. I was like, this is crazy. And I'm just like, I can't believe it. And they're like, whatever. And I start looking over the HESCOs because they're like, hey, we want you to find the poo site. And please tell me did the Navy use poo site? The poo?
Never heard it.
Okay, because Cody didn't hear about it either. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's just the point of origin for the mortars.
I've never heard that phrase, but it doesn't mean that it didn't exist.
Yeah.
I didn't do myself a lot of counter mortar stuff.
Well, we weren't supposed to, but we had to.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I mean, point of origin.
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, poo definitely fits the.
Well, the first time I heard it, I thought that someone just made it up. I thought, like, on the scene, I was
Yeah.
like,
Got it.
you just made that up wrong? I don't know. Yeah. So, like, everyone's just hunkering down, trying to be safe, like we should. But we're supposed to try to find it. That's why we went up on that high ground.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying to find the work if we can see any kind of dust kick up or anything like that, or the sniper fire. So I'm peeking over the HESCO, trying to see it, and I call Sergeant Isley because I think I see it. I was like, I don't know. I've never seen a mortar being fired before.
Yeah.
He comes over there. He confirms it. Oh, dude, we have a JTAC with us. Call a 500-pound JDAM. Yes. Glory. It was nice. It all stopped after that. And we're like, yeah, that's what we thought. Like, to your 72 mortars, we dropped one, and this game over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, after that, we hung out for a little bit. We waited to see if anything else was going to happen. Nothing happened. We keep pushing to D.C. We check it out, relay it back, what they think, if it would be a good area to be. Mm-hmm. And then we get picked up, go back to the cop, early in the morning again.
Yeah.
And then after that, dude, it was just Chalk Valley all year long.
Jeez.
And that's where I actually got blown up from the ID, was on the road in there. And
playing Afghan Mario Kart.
Afghan Mario Kart, yes, sir. That's what I was saying. Afghan Mario Kart, man. You got to dodge the little banana peels and shells and stuff. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I mean, after that, it was just.
What was it? What was that day like? Like when you got blown up? Tell us about that day.
So that day it was actually like my fireworks for 4th of July. It was July 5th, like at 12:30 p.m. It was like right after 4th of July.
Oh.
And because I found my Purple Heart paperwork, and that's when I got awarded it. Because like when we got back, they pulled us out and like, hey, this is your day. You got wounded, and here's your award. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, yeah, I got 4th of July after all, man, nice. And but it was midnight. We're switching out, the platoon for a mission, for our rotation we have for mission, either missions, QRF, whatever. So they get there, we start driving out, whatever time it was in the middle of the morning, and I'm with Guida, my boy. We're in his truck, and he's like, hey, there's only 2 guys in their truck up there. They need a gunner. Kennedy, go up there. I'm like, all right. I run up there, get on the gun. We start going. I have my nods on. I'm on top of the truck. They got the IR. Shit, sorry. Okay. We got the IR lights going, so we can see. Try not to pick up, being seen. And I don't know if Army, how different the Army nods is to Navy, to SEAL nods or anything like that, but it's not really good.
Yeah.
And I'm looking. I'm trying to watch around. Can't really see nothing. But then I see a pile of dirt, and before I could even see anything, I just remember getting hit in the face with dirt. And then, luckily, I remembered to put my strap on that's connected to the turret, so you don't fly out.
Oh, you're like your leash, right?
Yeah, the leash. Yeah, luckily I remember to put that on. And, I remember getting hit in the face. I think I broke my nose a little bit. And then I woke up and back at the MRAP, and they're in a firefight. They're shooting, firing. I don't know how long I was out. I don't think it was long. And I remember getting up, and I'm trying to move the turret because I think I'm still right side up, but the turret or the truck's in the hole sideways, and I'm trying to get up, and I'm like, I can't move the gun, and then I hear I don't remember who, I think it was Ladinez. He's like, because it's on the damn side, you idiot. So I guess it has like a tilt thing, you know. If it's off, it won't reach.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to fire because I'm like, I got to support
Yeah,
my guys. And I don't know.
Training kicks in, man.
Yeah. And then like I remember going in and out. They pulled me out of the truck, and one of them said, when they set me down on the side of the road behind some cover just to check me, they said I grabbed my rifle and just took off running. They're like, they don't know where I was going. I don't know where I was going. I don't remember it. They're like, you just grabbed your gun and you try to run off. We had to grab you. And then I remember they put me in the back of Sergeant Alamo. He passed away after we got back. They put me in the truck with him. He was the squad leader for the mortar team.
Yeah.
Platoon sergeant, I guess. I don't know how the mortar team thing works. He put us in the truck. I remember going in and out talking to him. He keeps checking on me. We get back to the cop. First Sergeant Houston pulls me out of the truck. He helps carry me back inside, checking on me.
You got wrapped.
Oh yeah, I was
hard,
walked, yeah.
Man.
And yeah, I do. I think they said our RIDs were some of the biggest ones they've had in the area.
Bro, you're lucky to be alive.
And
anybody die in that attack?
No, dude. What is crazy, dude? Our company, Bravo Company, is the only company that didn't have a KIA.
What?
But we had like, I want to say 86 Purple Hearts out of 150 dudes. Or 100 and something dudes.
86 what?
Purple Hearts. Like wounded.
Oh, Purple
guys
Hearts.
getting wounded, yeah.
Gotcha.
86 Purple Hearts out of 100 and something.
Yeah. Out of everybody getting just shot and blown up.
So nobody died,
nuts.
but like everybody got something just about.
Yeah. Like our company was the only one who did have a KI, I think. I think Alpha lost a few. I know Charlie lost a lot.
Dang. That's horrible.
I'm not sure about Delta. But yeah, it was nuts. Like, cause I think we had the most firefights and we all had the biggest ammo expenditures, but we didn't lose anyone. And I got back to the cop, to the aid station. They did their little concussion thing, whatever.
Protocol,
Fill me up, make sure nothing's broken inside. I guess they hoped I didn't have internal bleeding. Yeah. And then they're like, all right, 2 weeks, you're off mission. You're staying in bed and you're gonna hang out. And that was it. And then after that, I went, they're like, you want to go to Germany, get checked out? I was like, I feel fine. And I was like, I can't remember if that was before. I think that was after we lost like 6 guys had to get sent home because they hit a giant IED on the MSR-1. And my buddy Petey, I think they all fractured their skull, torn bicep, broken ribs. Like a lot of them got sent home for good because they fractured their spines, like super bad, and they all had to go to Germany for surgery. Like my buddy's Petey, half his face was ripped off, I think from hitting the 50 cal from the IED because his truck went straight up and landed right on his back. And so he had to go get facial surgery to reattach like part of his lip and face back to his cheekbone. He had to reattach his bicep. He was just all jacked up. I think he got the worst.
That's
for
horrible.
the IED out of everything.
Oh man.
And so after I think it was after because we already lost those guys. So that whole truck got sent home. And then they're like, you want to leave? And I was like, I have like half a squad. I was like, I ain't going nowhere. Yeah. I was like, there's only like 5 of us left. Wow. It was Sergeant Isley, Sergeant Benning, Jacobson, me. Fireball. No, Fireball. He got home too. He got sent home too because he got hit by a grenade. So we were in Chalk Valley pool somewhere, and we're all laying down. We're taking a break, laying down. The other guys pulling security, and we're waiting to figure out where we're going to move to. And some guy just walks by, chunks a grenade over, and he catch shrapnel all throughout his back. And they said if one piece would have moved like a little further, it would have punctured his heart. But, so we call him Iron Man now because he has all the metal in his arm. He has one big one right here in his skin. We'll grab it and pinch it and wiggle it around. He's like, get off me, rope.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Okay. So so you stay, keep going out on missions till it's your turn to rotate back?
Yeah, dude, I think after a while, we kind of quit doing rotations because we lost so many dudes. I think A&A and I don't want to call them wussies. That's too mean. The guys who I guess just couldn't handle the firefights anymore, They're not wussies. I mean, I get it. Some people are different.
Wow.
But some guys just couldn't go out anymore because they saw just people getting shot. One
They
group,
had exceeded their threshold.
yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
that's a good word. Yes, that's good. Then when it first happened, it was worded different. But
No,
now,
I know,
now
I
I understand now. We're younger
Yeah.
and older now, but.
Yeah.
At the same time, I just didn't understand how you gonna leave your boys go out there by themselves, But
Yeah,
it
I
is
have a
what it
hard
is.
time understanding
Yeah.
that. I have a hard time having empathy with that.
Yeah.
However, I haven't been in the same scenario as those guys, so it's not fair for me to judge. But I get it.
See,
Trust
yeah,
me.
yeah, no, yeah.
We're also in our 40s now.
Oh, I know.
And we
there's-
think a little bit differently.
Yeah, for sure.
If you would have talked to James and JP in their early 20s,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
response would be
Totally
drastically
different, yeah.
likely. There would be a lot of beep,
Heck
beep,
yeah.
beep.
Yeah.
This episode would not be user friendly anymore.
Half the episode be beeping.
Just put a warning at the beginning.
Yeah. Or,
But
wow.
Do you think there's something to the frequency of your engagements that prevented some of your guys from being KIA, just because you were doing it so much that y'all were aware of what all the dangers were, versus somebody who like maybe they went out once a week, that they might be a little bit more lax in the way that they approach things?
see, for me, I kind of think it's opposite because
Okay.
complacency.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
There's okay.
No, go ahead. You're going to
There's,
say what I'm going to say.
Because man, after a couple months, we used to get mortared. Our cop got mortared all the time.
Yeah.
First month or two, everybody's running to the bunkers. After that, we're in bed. We just got back from mission. We hear the alarm going off. We hear the mortars hitting next to us. And we're like, I'm not getting out of bed. If it's my time, it's my time, dude. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't care. I'm tired.
There'd be time.
I don't care.
James and I have talked about it, and I know I've heard it from other guys. I can't remember where guys would be like getting mortared. They're like, you know, you're going to get in a gunfight, and they're like, man, I don't want to do this hungry, and so they would go and grab food while bases like these little areas are being attacked, and be like, all right, cool, I got my tray of food up here in the tower. I'm going to get it. So like to James's point, the complacency creeps in. Now, I think to what you're saying, Lucas, and James, I'd love to hear your opinion on this, because I mean you much more combat than I did. Do you think your guys' posture of being default aggressive and going out there so often helped hinder some of the things, or is it just a luck of the draw situation?
I know
Or
for
both?
sure. I think it's a little bit of everything, because I know we were the first unit to wear multicam. Besides like SF or like Delta or something,
Yeah.
we were the first like regular Army guys to use multicam. Was what I heard.
Yeah.
And so I remember our what are they? I don't know what their regular term is. The guys who like listen to all the radio chatter and pick up intel.
Yep.
We call them Peep and Tom. That was their code.
Oh,
sign.
yeah.
yeah. Coach. They would tell us that like when we first got there and they saw our uniforms, like, hey, this is either Delta or Rangers or some super big time dudes, and we're like, all right, that's nice to have, because now they're a little more scared, even though half of us are rookies and we don't know what the heck's going on.
There's something very real to that. I
For
mean,
sure.
there was talks about it. There's a book called The Sheriff of Ramadi, and it talks about our deployment. And the locals called us the Devils with tan helmets.
Yeah.
Because they knew if we were roaming the streets, like,
Yeah, they knew who you were.
oh yeah.
Heck,
And they knew that, okay, you might poke the bear, but the
Yeah.
death blossom
Yeah.
is a very
Oh,
real
death
thing.
blossom, for sure.
That's an actual
That's
tactic.
what we did. Heck yeah, it is.
The death blossom.
And but yeah, like I think that too. And I don't know. I think I'd rather be the guy with less experience, because like I still have that. I would still have that fear factor thing, like fear factor adrenaline thing. You're like you're scared. You have to be careful. And I was talking to JP about this the other day, and Cody, with our last FTX we did in Canada. We've seen a way different type of engagement from not the role players, the clients, with the airsoft and not the lasers. Like lasers, you're getting shot. You see your lumbers going, your lights flashing and stuff. And if the people who don't want to be there, especially if their company makes them come, they're just like, this is dumb.
Yeah, like
we're
it
just
doesn't
here.
matter.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be here because I'm told to be here. I think if they would have done that, if it's airsoft, you have no choice to be engaged. You know what I mean? So now you actually have to talk more, communicate more. Like, hey, if I don't tell that guy to move, he's gonna get lit up and be stinging for a little while.
I mean,
You know?
we saw the same thing so I get to participate in some police trainings that we do here, and we used to use, because of budget restrictions, just like the plastic guns and everybody just said bang.
Yeah.
And then we had a police chief that made it a budget priority to start using simunitions.
Yeah.
And it changed the game
sure,
for everybody. Like, and all I am is a role player in those things. But I am way more intentional about hiding, and those kinds of things. And they're like, all right, in this scenario, you're going to get shot. And I'm like heck I am.
Yeah.
Then I get 2 free ones.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
On whoever's
yeah.
giving me the command, they're like, oh, I'm going to get shot. You too.
Yeah.
This is how we're going to play this game.
Yeah.
So
But
it does change it for sure.
I think with your question, like I mean, I know for sure I got super complacent from just being there too long and just being tired, and I was just like, I don't care no more. Like I think I already accepted the fact that I'm probably not. I kind of told myself, I was like, I'm not going home, so I'm gonna do whatever I want to do and try to be, Rambo as much as I could.
Yeah, the creeps.
It happens. And it was crazy because we talk about being Rambo at the FTXs all the time. Is you run off, something bad most likely is gonna happen to you if you're by yourself.
Yeah.
And this is one reason why. Well, I was talking on the phone about the V thing. We heard somebody, some A&A guy was getting shot up. He was pinned down behind like a boulder thing. Mm-hmm. And I see it coming from across the dam, and I just come out in the open and start dumping my whole saw, my 200-round drum out, just to give him cover to come back. And I'm just trying to cover these couple of A&A guys to get back on cover. And my staff sergeant, Guida, he's seen it. He's like, you freaking idiot. I was like, what? He's like, first off, the A&A, which is it's not good to say, but
I know,
it's
I get
A&A.
it, yeah.
And, me, naturally, I'm just a caring person. I try to help everybody.
Yeah.
And so I seen those guys trapped, and, I see the rounds hitting all around them, and I was like, I can pop out for a little bit, dump.
Distract.
Yeah, just dump a whole bunch of rounds and let them run
Shift
back
for fire, lay down cover fire,
Yeah. So I did it. My Guida said it. He's like, that was stupid, but it was, it was good.
Awesome.
Yeah. So then, he tried to put me in for the award, whatever, but it didn't happen. I don't care. But, yeah, like I think I keep going off track. I'm sorry.
No, this is perfect.
With I think it would have been better if I had a little more like the fear I had like the first couple months and the first couple firefights throughout the whole year.
That's why I like the 6-month deployments of the SEAL teams, and some groups do 4 months.
Yeah.
It keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
When you're deployed for 12 to 15 to 18 months, that's when the complacency really creeps in. So
we have a bad complacency thing too, where we never got hit at night really because we have nods, they don't.
Yeah.
And there's one time it was a different platoon. They're on a mountaintop, just pulling security. Everybody's relaxing for the night, switching off, fire guard, whatever. Some guy walks up with the AK and just starts shooting, hits Elm in the arm twice.
Oh, jeez. And
we don't know if it's true or not. Apparently the gunner fell asleep, who was supposed to be on security, which happens, and it sucks. Yeah. But dude, we're out there forever, so it's kind of hard. You gotta try your best to stay awake. And he fell asleep, is what everyone thinks happened, and he almost died because he got hit in the artery. The medic was like, we need it, evac him, evac him now, or he's not gonna make it. They evac'd him out. He doesn't have use of his arm anymore. And just because complacency creeped in, you're so used to not being hit at night, nothing happening. You think you can take a little nap, and it doesn't work out.
All right, so we'll shift a little bit, but I know Lucas probably has some questions about Afghanistan.
So there's one in particular that I have, and this is I'll say tongue in cheek, it's an NCC question, but like back home during
non-commissioned civilians, he made that up.
Okay, I was trying to think of the acronym. I was like,
what's an NCC? Yeah, it's just a way that I can sound cool to myself.
Heck yeah, I like it.
So here's what we heard back home during this period in Afghanistan was nothing really about the war that was going on. All of our attention was focused on a dust one, which was, I want to make sure I say his name right, Bo Bergdahl, right, who had left. It's in the middle of the Afghanistan situation. Like, that's why.
Was that when I was there?
It is why you were there. So it was 2009 to 14 was his, like, captivity.
Oh, okay, 2009 to 14.
Was during that. Like, was that something that for y'all was, like, I mean, you're in the fight there. Is that something that was discussed at all for you guys? Because it was pretty much all anybody was talking about stateside whenever we were during that period where you were like in daily engagements. All we're hearing is about this guy who got captured, aka wandered off base intentionally. Yeah.
I mean, nothing from like chain of command. It was all PNN stuff.
Really?
Private news network, yeah.
Yeah.
Other than that, it was,
But like y'all didn't, you weren't part of anything that like went to look for them or to figure things out.
no.
This is the part that's so bizarre to me. Whenever I listen to guys like you that sit down and that are talking about what's actually happening, the impression here was that was the focus of the troops in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
As that you guys were trying to get Bo back.
Yeah.
And like, here we are, like 15 years removed from when he was taken and 10 years removed from his release. And we're like, and all the podcasts and stuff Serial, I think their second season was kind of about it. That now looking back, they're like, so it's sort of, he wandered off in protest.
Yeah.
Guy captured thing. It was gonna change stuff, and that like the troops there really weren't worried about it. And hearing this, you guys were like, no, just kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
gossip was the only thing we got about it, right?
Just gossip, like, hey, did you hear about that guy Bo who walked off like an idiot? And we're like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, cool. And then just game over,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, that's to use a word that the co-host of my Hawaiian Friends podcast has, my twin. It's a dichotomy, right? Because like what we hear is so different than what y'all experienced, which is so absolutely bizarre to me how much the spin machine works.
Yeah.
Whenever you're trying to keep stuff in a news cycle.
I mean, we're seeing that currently right now on the news, like how much the media will twist stuff. That's why people like Jenna Babin with Smarter News is needed. Like, she gives you the facts. That's her whole thing. Is like, hey, here's what's going on. Here's the facts. Here's what you need to know. Do with it what you want.
Yeah.
And she's not manipulating and playing games. And so
that's one of my favorite memes that's come out recently is from some deployed Army guys, and I say they're Army. Somebody in the armed forces, right? That there was at the presidential debate. It was stated that we currently don't have any troops in the theater of war, and then it's like all these guys are basically like, well, then where the heck are we?
Where are we at?
What are we doing?
We're like
right
everywhere right now.
Yeah.
Still.
So, which is such a it's such a
sad.
weird thing that only happens on the home front because it's only whenever people are in the safety of their homes can with no what we would think of as, not that they're illegitimate, but no like pressing threats on us right now, where we're like, oh yeah, of course we don't have anybody at war, and they're like, oh, of course everybody's out looking for this one guy that's there. Meanwhile, you guys are getting your vehicles flipped over, just trying to get back and forth to base. It's just bizarre.
When we got there, I think they said like the first mission I was on, it was to take a contractor civilian guy out to check their water plant to make sure they're getting clean water. And then we got shot at, and then like, all right, we're gonna go, we got a whole bunch of backpacks and stuff we're gonna take to a village, give to the kids, make sure they got stuff, and then if you get shot at, shoot back. I'm like, okay.
You're trying to help, like you're making sure that they have clean water, and these savages are like, so stupid. Anyways, all right, so
so many of them were mercy missions, or like actually doing the work to try to help people out.
I understand it was totally different when we first got there.
Sure.
But when I was there to 10, probably to whenever we left, it was basically just the hearts and mind thing, make sure they got everything they need. It wasn't go out and try to find Taliban and kill them. Like, hey, go out there, patrol, ask around KLEs at every village, see if they need anything. And if you get shot at, shoot back. And that was it.
It's so crazy to me.
But then after Bin Laden got killed, that's when it picked up and it went to crazy. And then
I was in Canada whenever that happened.
Yeah.
Like, I remember that. That was a huge thing because I had a roommate that was from Ireland, and he and I, we almost got into a fist fight over this. Because he was, I was in my room. We were living in a basement. I was in my room. He knocks on the door and he's like, "Bro, you got to come see the news."
Yeah.
And so we're watching the news, and I'm stunned. Right? I was like, "This is a huge thing." And then he starts cracking up, telling me that when he was in Belfast, that when the towers were falling down, that him and the guys in Belfast that he was like literally like our whole class was like cracking up. We thought it was hilarious. And so we started to unpack that, and our third roommate ended up having to get the people who owned the house, who lived upstairs, involved in a very heated conversation that happened from there on, because it ended up in, just like I said, it ended up in a really bad spot. But like that was, and I think maybe some of our younger listeners like don't get it, that even for those of us who were not in the service, that moment, like those two moments, 9/11 itself, and when the news of bin Laden's death happened, like those are landmark moments for any of us who were in our mid-teens and beyond during that time period. And they were both like national tragedy and then moments of like kind of relief, whether or not that relief was real or whether it was something that was manufactured because it felt like, all right, justice had finally come. That I'm willing to at that point get into a fist fight with another missionary. Right, we're both over there like doing that, and he's just telling me about his experience, and because it had affected us so much, we're neither one of us are in our country of origin, and it's about to come to blows. Because of that, it's just such a wild thing to look at, like how all of that like emotion was played off of, because when bin Laden died, for me in a lot of ways, like, oh, this is the war's over.
That's what a lot of people thought. You should have saw all the messages I got overseas. Hey, you're coming home now, right? Bin Laden's dead. I'm like, there's a hope, 100 dudes behind him ready to take over. This ain't gonna stop.
That was never something that got into the zeitgeist back home. Not only was that not something that we understood, but hearing you talk about like, oh, things ramped up in Afghanistan after that. This is not anything that I've heard from anyone other than my friends who have served, or my family members who have served that were over there. That were, because I've got a cousin who was a mortarman, and he was like, bro, after bin Laden died, it was like, he goes, it was the floodgates opened, because now everybody was trying to compete to be the next guy.
It's interesting. Like, I mean, I know what you're saying is true, but I wonder how much was fabricated and or elaborated from your friend from Belfast of what he said.
I don't know.
Because if not, then I wonder how many people are going to be like, screw Ireland now. You hear that, and that's the initial like, oh, really? That's what you thought? Well, screw you guys.
Yeah, and we talked about it afterwards, and for him it was a really weird thing, because like the area in Belfast that he grew up in, right, when he was 9-10 years old, he was making pipe bombs, because the battles that were going on, and he was right outside of where the Catholic and Protestant sort of lines are, and so they were constantly, from the time he was a kid, you had paramilitary groups that were fighting each other in the streets. And so for them to see that, he was kind of explaining to us, because we had a mandated reconciliation.
I was going to ask him, like, how'd you guys work through that one? Yeah,
the pastor actually like sat us down and had some conversations with us about it, because it got brought up again, and my language was apparently more colorful and out of character than I thought it was. So when we're sitting down, like he's explaining that, and it's like, okay, like that puts a different perspective on it, because like for them, and the language and stuff that's used, like, oh, we thought it was hilarious. That was not the way that we think of stuff that's hilarious. The way that it was used over there culturally, in the sense that like they knew, like, okay, this is happening, this is going to war, like this is a good time, because that's what they grew up with, was fighting in the streets every day, and they knew that they were likely going to be involved in it, and what it could mean for them is a little bit of time of unity and peace, because the UK and an independent Ireland would likely band together to do that, and so their focus would be helping the Americans instead of the other thing.
Were they going to ban? Were they going to ban against us? We'll
right, like what?
Smoke check you in like half a day.
Yeah, but the idea was that it might stop fighting in his area for a little bit, because they had a united purpose for a common, to help out a common ally, and all like none of that entered my head at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. It's not the way I would have thought about
heck
that
no.
comment.
Yeah, no
James
way.
and I are like,
No
cool.
way.
Yeah.
Oh, you're against us?
Yeah, right.
Put you down too.
Heck yeah.
Like I said, there was some reconciliation meetings that had to happen in order for that to come out, and there was still a part of me that was like, afterwards, I was like, how long do you have to think that up before you came out? And he was
Yeah,
like, no,
heck
that's how I
yeah.
really felt. I was like, whatever, dude.
Heck yeah.
So we ended up being okay, but yeah, it was
Yeah,
tense.
I'd have a hard time with that one.
Yep. But yeah, it's just one of those things. It's so bizarre. You know, like talked to my wife about it.
Yeah.
She was 3 when 9/11 happened. Yeah. Right? And so she, like, for her, it doesn't hardly move the needle.
Yeah.
You know, she knows about it and she empathizes with it, and we've got some friends who you know, have served, and like that was their motivation for serving.
Yeah.
And then we have a guy who's a friend of ours, Sujo John, who was in the tower, like watched the wing of the plane go through the other side of his office building.
Yeah.
And so she hears his story and she's like, you know, like that makes it all more real to me. She goes, but it didn't, you know, she goes, I don't have anything in my life that I point to that it's like, this is the thing that had that impact on me.
Well, like you do, like Echelon Front says, man, that everybody's perspective is different.
Yeah, for sure.
Like my friend's mom, she was on the ground there when it happened.
Yeah.
And her dad told me he was waiting across the bridge for her to walk back. When he finally found her, she was just covered in dust and smoke.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then
imagine.
you know, seeing that to someone in California, you know, it's not gonna, when they see it and they watch it, it's not gonna feel the same.
Yeah.
So
So you come home from that deployment, and did you decide on that deployment you were getting out, or was it when you came home? Like what was the thought process for transitioning out of the military?
No, I got back. We came back the end of 2011. They moved me over to Scout Platoon. I was going to be on just a 3-man like sniper recon team. We worked a lot. We had a guy, he kept trying to go to SF, and he failed. So he basically got put into the platoon sergeant role of our HHC scouts. And then, you know, basically he used that as his training for SF. So whatever he did, we did. Yeah. And he didn't understand that all the beating he was doing was actually, you know, diminishing his returns because he was doing too much, and he just kept getting hurt. And then I think with all that, you know, I didn't know the extent of my injury from the IED.
Yeah.
And plus, you know, me staying and still doing all the crazy stuff we're doing. So after
There was no actual healing for your brain and your body.
Yeah. So
Because every time you pull the trigger on a weapon, like those
little concussions,
another concussion, and the micro tears through your body, and the micro tears, especially through your brain.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't even think about that. Like being just around
Who does?
RPGs hitting the building or mortars blowing around. You don't think like, oh, that was close. You don't like think nothing happened to you, you know? But it does. You just don't realize it. And so they put me in HHC for a little while, and man, we basically did 3-day FTXs every week, and we rucked anywhere between 5 to 15 miles a week, rucking and doing stress shoots, and you know, I had little pains every now and then, but I wasn't going to the aid station. I was like, I'm not going to go on profile, whatever, you know, that manly man infantry stuff. And after a while, I couldn't keep up with them because my back was killing me. I'd have pain down my leg. I was, you know, be limping, rucking, trying to keep up with everybody. And then finally, they were like, go to the aid station and get checked out, man. They're like, because you're usually at the front of the ruck. You can usually keep up with everybody. And so I go to the aid station. They send me to do MRIs and all this other stuff. And they're like, you got a couple fractures in your spine and your lower your hip. You got 2 torn discs in your lower back, herniated disc, whatever, all the disc stuff.
Yeah.
And then they're like, have you even been checked for TBI from your IED? Because he was going, you know, they're going through my profile thing. And I was like, no. And they're like, what would you do when you got blown up in Afghanistan? And I was like, I don't know. They did a little concussion thing and told me to rest for 2 weeks, and I was back out. And I was like, they're like, they didn't want to send you home. I was like, well, they asked, but I said no. He's like, all right, I guess I get that.
Like I was trying to be all I could be.
Yeah. I was like, come on, man. And so after the aid station, what is it, the major there? I'm not sure remember what he's called. The top physician guy there was like, all right, we're going to send you to all these doctors' places. We're going to check you out. So they sent me to get like an MRI. They did this CAT scan for your brain, everything. And they got the results back, and they're like, we can't fix your back. At the time, I guess they're like, we don't, like, your discs are torn. We can't fix those right now. And he even said, he's like, maybe 10 years from now we can, but right now we can't. Yeah. And he's like, so we're gonna have to med board you, like retire you out. And I was like, well, what do you mean? I was like, at first I didn't get it because I remember we were doing a battalion run, and man, we had like ex-SF dudes with like one leg and they're running. I was like, there's dudes in here with one leg still operating and stuff, you know, like whatever. But at the same time,
it's hard to connect those.
Yeah. But at the same time, it was also when they were trying to downsize. So I think they were trying to force me out kind of too. Yeah. So like I talked to him, and I talked to my company commander, or no, it was battalion commander. He was our company commander for a while, but he took over because I was trying to go on the second deployment. The next year we were doing another deployment with half the team or half the company, whatever, and it was to support SF. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm going to go. Heck yeah, let's go. I was like, I'm down. I was like, I go to First Sergeant Harry. I was like, First Sergeant. He's like, no, you ain't going. I was like, First Sergeant, please. He's like, you ain't going, Kennedy. He's like, I already talked to aid station. You're jacked up. You can't go. And I was like, well, what am I supposed to do? He's like, you're going to be rear D, and you're going to wait for all these new guys to show up, and you're going to sit here. And then that's one thing that sucks about deploying right away as I joined, because I basically got spoiled, you know. Downrange First Sergeant, he didn't make a shave unless like somebody was coming. He didn't care. Unless like some bigwig was coming, and he's like, all right, we got to clean up.
And you're in the middle of nowhere, Afghanistan, so it's like
they didn't care.
Yeah.
And so when I found out, they definitely would not let me go on a second deployment. And then I was like trying to stay in. I wanted to go back to the line. I was like, because when I found out HAC, our scout platoon, was just going to be mostly pulling reconnaissance, and I was like, you just want me to watch? I was like, that's boring. I was like, never mind, put me back on the front line, man. Then they wouldn't let me do that. So then when I started going through the, I don't know, the process, I can't remember what it's called, the process to get out, whatever.
Yeah.
I started talking to them, and I'm like, they put me in S3 for a long time while they're doing all the, because they got to make me do all the appointments. And I talked to my commander, and he's like, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't want to get out. I was like, what am I going to do? I was like, I signed a 6-year contract. I was like, I planned on doing life.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do if I get out. I was like, can I reclass? He was like, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know, put me in the gym or something. I was like, I can do something.
Yeah.
And then he sent me to the retention office or whatever. Yeah. And they're like, what do you want to do? I was like, I don't know, I just want to stay in. I was like, can I work? He's like, all we have right now is cook. I was like, all right, I'll sign the midboard right now, bro. I was like, I'm not going to be a cook, man. I was like, I'll take the medical retirement, I guess. So I did that. It took about a year to go through. So I just hung out in S3 for a long time, help with all the operation stuff.
Yeah. Did you helped as a role player also, right?
Yeah,
when
yeah.
They were doing training missions?
That's when we did it. So when I was in S3, we got sent to it's called the box out in Fort Polk in Tigerland. And it was pretty cool, man, because we got to run around with some old school, like, World War II veterans and stuff. Like, their retirement was just working out there, being role players as well.
Man, that would be awesome.
And this one guy here was cool. He was in a wheelchair. He did not role play at all. He didn't care. He still just acted the same, but he would cook us food every time, so he was really cool. And then we had a lot of, which was really cool that I thought was a lot of Afghan interpreters who they allowed to get their visas and come down here and work. Yeah. They would work there as the units in training STRP. So they understood how it would work and everything like that. So we had a lot of Afghan role players there. And then whoever I can't remember if I can say that word. The profile guys were the bad dudes. The guys who were injured. Mm-hmm. We all did role player S3, and we'd run around as Taliban or whatever else, just messing up the units who'd show up and just cause a wreck, cause a havoc,
That's cool. The broken people.
Yeah.
I knew what you were going to say.
No, yeah, for sure.
Broke legs.
Yeah. It was us and 509 Geronimo played all the Op 4 stuff.
That's cool, man. Yeah. Which you've been a great asset to all the FTXs that we run at Echelon Front, and you help create the scenarios and been really helping grow and expand that with Cody and Justin and now Josh as well. And then obviously Jesse and Cowie and all those guys that we have, Joe Reyna.
All the goons.
Oh, they call them the Goon Squad. I'm like, those are my sled dogs. My sled dogs. Okay, so you get out, and at what point do you decide you're going to start training jiu-jitsu, and at what point, do you end up like starting the gym?
Yeah, so I actually tried to do MMA and jiu-jitsu before I joined because I didn't think I was ever going to get in. And my buddy Osiris, he was an MMA fighter. He started fighting in, I think, either 12th grade or right after we graduated. So I started going to him to a place called Kingdom in Garland for a little while.
Okay.
And then like 2 weeks after I started, they called me like, hey, you're cleared to go. Let's go. And I was gone. And so I didn't touch it for a while. I tried to join the boxing team at Fort Polk for a little while. But at the time, we had one E7 in S3. He was an old Marine dude. He wasn't having it. He was like, you ain't in the army to box? I was like, what? He wouldn't let me do it. And I was like, okay, whatever. So he wouldn't let me box. He made me do all the S3 stuff, battalion duty, staff duty, crap like that. Yeah. And, so I got out. With jiu-jitsu, I think 4 years, I didn't do anything, man. I think I kind of did like, I don't want to say like the normal veteran thing. I think it's just kind of something that happens to us. I kind of locked myself in my house for 4 years. Thankfully, I got on this Purple Heart program that a staff sergeant put me in, and banks who foreclose on homes donate the homes to this program, and you have to do a 3-year program with them for Purple Heart recipients.
Oh, wow.
So they called me one day, like a week before I got out, and they're like, hey, you heading home soon? I was like, yeah, I leave next week. I'm driving back to Texas and got to find somewhere to live. And the guy was like, did you not get her email? I was like, man, I don't check my emails. What the heck? I was like, I'm in the Army, dude. I don't check emails. And he was like...
Not great reception here in the mountains of Afghanistan, sir.
And he was like, he was just like, oh, well, I guess I get to give you the good news, man. He's like, you got approved for that house in Midlothian. And I was like, where the hell is Midlothian? He's like, it's in Texas. I was like, what part of Texas? I was like, I've never heard of that, man. And so I Googled it, and of course, I've never been in that area. I've always more on the east side of Texas.
It's a nice area, though.
Oh, man. Yeah, it was. Now it's growing. It's blowing up. It's getting too big for me. But he was like, yeah, man, here's the address. When you drive home, let us know when you're going to be there, and we'll see if the guys from Chase Bank will meet you there. And we'll do a walkthrough, and then one of our representatives from the program will sit down and talk to you, and let you know how everything has to work for the 3 years, and you'll be home. And I was like, all right.
This is incredible.
So, yeah, man, I'm like, I stood in the,
I want to go get hurt.
I know, right? So, like, I didn't believe it. That's the one thing that everybody laughs about. They're like, I tell them I got blown up and all the stuff that happened. They're like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, sorry. I was like, thanks, Taliban. You got me a freaking house, bro.
Yeah, no
I'm like,
joke.
Thank you, man. Heck yeah.
Oh,
and
am I too old?
I know, right?
Depends on how the elections go.
Heck yeah, for
You
sure.
might open up recruiting again.
Oh, yeah, they're going to be drafting for World War III, maybe. So,
Hope not.
yeah, so, like, man, I load up the U-Haul, throw my dogs in the truck, we drive all the way here. I'm going to Midlothian. I'm like, man, this is in the middle of nowhere. Because, 2014, it was nothing down there.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I see a big cement factory, a couple houses, a couple restaurants, Walmart. I was like, all right, that's all I need. I'm good. I get there. I meet the people from the bank. They walk me to the house, and it's, it's not super big. It's a 16-square-foot house on a good lot of land. And I tell them, like, hey, I was like, it's just me and my dogs. I don't need this big of a house. I was like, y'all give this to another veteran with, like, a family or something.
Oh, wow.
And they're like, no, you're good, man. Like, we got a few. And I was like, yeah, it's just me and my dogs. I was like, we'll give each of your dog a room. And I was like, all right, cool.
That's a great plan.
Yeah, and I was like, cool. And I was like, man, all I have is a bed. Like, I just had a bed and I think a couch from my apartment. Yeah, I mean, I moved in and I was just sitting there looking around. I was like, something's going to happen. They're going to call me and be like, psych, get out of our house, bro. You know what I mean? Something. I was like, oh, I'm getting scammed. I was like, this is like a scam thing. I was like, the owner's going to come home and be like, what the heck you doing in my house, dude? I was like, I got scammed or something like that. And so, like, it took me a while to actually feel at home because I was like,
I could only imagine. That's
so
crazy.
I feel like you were back in California squatting on your neighbor's
yeah,
lawn.
dude.
Yeah.
It felt like I was just in some random person's house. And I was sitting there just looking around. And then I think after the first month after the 30 days, they had I guess call it my counselor, the lady who I'm supposed to deal with for the 3-year program thing. She finally called me and she was like, "How you settling in?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, I'm not trying to accept it because I don't want it to get like ripped out from under me, you know.
That's valid.
And I was like, I never really had a home growing up besides the Army. And every time I lived somewhere, I either got thrown out or had to leave. I was like, so I don't want to get too comfy. And she's like, "James, that's your house." She's like, "That's what I'm calling you for." She said, "We just have to talk about what you have to do, the priorities of this." She's like, "Our whole thing is to help you get readjusted and, you know, learn how to live a responsible life, because most of you guys join fresh out of high school.
Yeah.
And none of y'all know how to do anything like responsible wise as an adult. Like the adult.
Take
and
care
I
of
was
your
like,
money,
yeah.
take care of a house, any of that stuff.
Yeah. And I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I was like, she's like, "Was your water and electricity on?" And I was like, "Yeah, the water's on." And I was like, the guy told me to call the electricity place and I got it set in my name. She's like, "What about the water?" And I was like, "No." She's like, "You got to go to the utility building and put that in your name."
Yeah.
She's like, "It's fine. It's only been a month. We'll go do it." And I was like, "Okay." So I go down there, you know, do that, put in my name. And then we're talking. She's like, "All right, here's the deal. You have to do," she's like, "the biggest thing is to try to pay off as much credit as you can. We want to build your credit. We want to put you on a budget plan for what you're going to be getting." She's like, "How much are you getting from the VA?" I was like, "Honestly, I don't know. It doesn't kick in for like another 6, 7, 8 months." I was like, "I'm going to go work back at the TA in Rockwall where I was working with that at my old job before I left until everything gets squared away." And then she's like, "Okay, well, let me know. Try to get your information, how much you're going to get." And then I was able to find it. I let her know. We worked a budget. And she's like, "Okay." She's like, "All right." She's like, "One of the rules is you can't finance nothing new unless you get it approved through our board." She was like, "Because we don't want you to make irresponsible decision on like going and get like a new car for 24% interest like you did in the Army."
You don't need a Mustang
Yeah,
GT right now.
because I did that with my Chrysler 300. She's like, "You already did that one. We can't fix that." And I was like, "Yeah, sorry about that."
Same.
Yeah. So I think her name was Stacy, man. She was a cool woman, man. She helped me out a lot. She taught me a lot of stuff. So the first year, you know, I just had to, if I wanted to buy anything, it had to be cash, or I had to call them and get it approved through them, with them looking through my financial statements from the bank and everything, and my bills, and see how I'm set up. And then man, it was easy. And the craziest thing about it is she told me that like half the veterans don't do what they're supposed to do and they lose it. And I'm like, "What is wrong with you?" I was like, "This was the easiest thing ever. You just don't blow your money. Talk to your counselor every month. Do what you have to do for 3 years, and they give you a house. All I had to pay was property tax."
Wow.
That was it. And she said she don't understand, and I didn't either. So I couldn't like kind of explain it to her. I was like, "I don't know why nobody would just follow the rules. They're easy." You know,
That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's crazy to me.
But we kind of see that across the board, like in just the human experience, for lack of a better way to put it, is that, you know, you can give somebody something, but if their default is to like rebellion or to pride, or like, "You can't tell me what to do," or if it's a gift, it's a gift. Don't, you know, put parameters on it.
Yeah.
That there's all kinds of things that happens to. I mean, you look at particularly like with addicts, that, you know, they're clean for 90 days and then they get set up with everything that they need. And, you know, the thing is just don't make this one dumb decision that you know is bad for you. And then you look at a lot of them 6 months down the road and they're back under the bridge.
Yeah.
The devil is a liar. He creeps in, man. And, you know, that's the other thing is like people aren't finding that new balance that they need when they get out.
Yeah.
You know, there's Jocko was talking about on one of his most recent podcasts. And, you know, I know you've heard it. I've heard it. And it's something we talked about. Like, there needs to be that balance, like, of, you know, you need to have your health together. You need to have your finances. And you need to have that spiritual aspect together as well. And, you know, it seems like this lady was a very sweet lady. That
Oh, yeah, she was.
She just wanted to help you.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So,
Thank you.
so you get that. You're working through the program with her. And then when do you start training jiu-jitsu again?
That was about 4 years down the line. Like I said, I locked, man. I sheltered myself, man. I stayed in the house. I didn't know what to do. you know, the way we talk to people and friends in the Army, military is different than talking to other people.
Yeah.
So I locked myself in the house for the first couple of years. One time I left was go to the grocery store, go to the gym.
Were you working or just kind
Just
of
a TA. Just when I was first, when I first got out, I was working at that travel station for a while. But then when the VA kicked in, I didn't work for a while, just because I didn't want to be around people. The truck stop was easy thing because I was in the back all the time just doing inventory, so I didn't have to be around nobody.
Yeah.
I was in the freezer or in the back counting all the 18-wheeler like radios or gas cans or anything like that, and after a while I was like, man, I got to do something. I was like, I'm just sitting here not doing anything, and the biggest thing was I got really bad on the pills from the VA for my back. I was snorting Percocets like crazy.
Yeah,
and,
that happens to people.
Yeah, and then after a while, you know, they didn't want me to work out because I shouldn't listen to them, you know, but, you know, at the time you're nervous and you want to listen and try to do the right thing. They're like, yeah, if you can't really work out crazy no more. You got to be careful. If you do this and do that, you can paralyze yourself. And I was like, what? Get paralyzed? Like, you know, so I'm like trying to be
Just
careful.
straight fear.
Yeah.
Living in fear now.
So like, then like, you know, I'm sitting at the house, gaining weight, doing whatever workouts I can do at the gym. And then, after a while, I just got tired of it, and I was working out with some other buddies, you know, who were powerlifting, doing stuff at the time. They're deadlifting, just ripping weight off the ground. I'm like, I don't care. I was like, I'm gonna do this. If I paralyze myself, then I'll deal with it later. And so I started doing powerlifting with this guy, and the stronger I got, the less pain I was in. And
Go figure.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, especially with my back. Like the last when I missed the origin camp is the first time I've hurt my back in years. And usually it's everything else that hurts. And now, so I started working out again. I started going to VA. They're like, you need a refill. I was like, no. I was like, I'm not taking those pills no more. And they're like, well, you're not in pain no more? I was like, well, to be honest with you, man, I started working out again, and I started following Louis Simmons from Westside Barbell.
Oh, yeah.
And I did like his protocol. I got the reverse hyper for my gym, a belt squat, and I did what he did for his broken back, and I didn't, no more pain. And I told the doctor, he's like, keep doing what you're doing, man. He's like, that's good. And I was like, hey, well, how come the doctor before I got out was telling me, you know, not to lift and not do anything? He's like, dude, half the time, he's like, to be honest, and he's like, I'm a doctor myself. He's like, half the time we don't really know what we're talking about. And I'm like, well, that's scary. That's scary to hear, man. I was like,
that's why it's called the medical practice.
He's like, half these dudes, you know, they go to the school, they get their degree, and they just do what they're told to say instead of actually like trying to, you know, learn on their own and look into stuff themselves. He's like,
do some new research.
Yeah. And I was like, all right. I was like, well, yeah. I was like, man, I'm going to keep working out. I'm feeling good. If I need anything, I'll tell you, but I'm good. And then I think after that, man, I didn't go to the VA I haven't been to the VA in years.
Yeah.
Which I probably need to. I need to start. I guess I'm getting older. I gotta go do my
you can
blood
get
work.
stuff checked out.
Do a little blood work.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, then
sit in the lobby of the one in Dallas while somebody comes by and tries to sell you magazines.
Well, one of the big things is one reason why I quit going is because after Afghanistan, man, I got this big infection, and I didn't know what it was, and it was just growing. And I went to the VA, and I was like, hey, I got this big bump, and it's gotten big pretty quick, and it's getting painful. I can't really move. It was even hard for me to, like, drive up there. And they're like, all right, well, is it whoever worked at the front desk? And I just found out apparently half the people that work the front desk are, like, workforce people, so they don't really give a care, you know?
Yeah.
And she's like, all right, well, if it's not an emergency, just come back later or call if it's worse. And I'm like, what? So I'm like, all right, I leave. The next day, it was like 10 times worse, and it was already pretty big. I drive back up there, and they're like, I was like, yes, it's emergency. I was like, I'm not leaving until y'all get somebody to see me. I was like, I don't know what this is, and it hurts, and it just doesn't seem right. And then she's like, they got mad, and they're like, all right, well, let me see if I can find someone who has time to see you. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I'm sitting in the lobby for like an hour or two, and finally this lady comes out who's a surgeon. And she calls me to the back, and I show her, and she's like, how long have you had this going on? And I was like, about a little over a week. And I was like, I came yesterday, but they told me to go home. And she's like, what? I was like, they told me to go home yesterday. Oh, my gosh. I thought she was going to burn that place down. She ran out there and lit that front office people up. She comes back in, and I was like, oh, no, it's not that big of a deal. She's like, no, it is. She's like, that's an infection. She's like, if that can be in your bloodstream at any time, you can die. Oh. And I was like, hold on, what?
Yeah.
And she's like, I have to put you in surgery now. She's like, I'm about to push one back and put you in right now. And I was like, okay. I was like, I guess I'm staying tonight, you know? So they do the surgery. And then, so after that, man, I was like, I appreciate her for doing that. But I was like, I never want to go back to the VA again.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, man, they're sending me home and they don't know what's going on. I was like, I could have died last night.
Yes,
I guess,
you
you know?
could've.
So I was like, I just never had really good experiences. I was like, yeah, I'm just not going to come back. So I just pay everything out of pocket now.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
So, like, with the VA in particular, and I've noticed this with a lot of the veterans that, like, go to our church or that we've helped out in our community, because that's a big piece of our ministry.
Yeah.
Right? Is elderly and disabled vets or veterans in general, right? So there seems to be this tendency that, particularly when it comes to the VA, that veterans are willing to just accept hey, you know what? No, we can't see you. Like, you got to go home.
Yeah.
And like, well, the VA can't see me. Like, I'll be fine. Kind of a thing. Is that because, like, is there part of that is the warrior gene that's like, no, they told me to go home, then I'll be fine. I'm just going to walk it off.
Yeah.
Is it part of it that, like, after you come home, that you're used to, or you're trying to get used to something that's so different, and kind of reeling from the fact that, like, the mundane pieces of life now just don't seem as important or as fulfilling as, what you were doing whenever you served? Yeah. Is it you start to expect less from people, and so you accept less? Like, what do you think it is that is the driving force behind that? Because your story is one that is heartbreaking, but that I hear often.
Yeah. I think it's a little bit of everything. I think one of the biggest things is like an ego thing is, we don't want to ask for help. And, especially, I don't know, I got in the Army as it was like transitioning to the more, nice, soft side. Cause I think when I was in basic, my group had they called it like high stress, low drag. They were testing out different things for different, cycles, like different cycles for the basic. And I guess I was in like a high stress, high drag situation where like everything just sucked. They're like, we're gonna stretch these guys out as much as we can. Then the guys next to me, they're like we're gonna do a lot of stuff and we're gonna push them, but we're gonna be nice about it. I guess they're doing things like that is what I heard.
Yeah, they're trying to see what is more effective for getting people trained up. Like, hey, do we actually have to add this much stress to their lives to get them to be proficient in doing something? So the military was trying to find like the balance between it. But unfortunately, there was the whip effect where you go from one, which was the extreme, and they never, well, for a while, I don't know, I can't say never because about the time I was getting out, but I think they missed the middle ground.
Oh, I think
and
they
there was
did.
a lot where they went over towards like, how do you feel right now?
Yeah, the tendency to overcorrect is one that we fall into often.
Yeah.
But
sorry. Back on what you asked me. One thing I think it's just an ego thing where we don't want to ask for help. We're like, we can do it ourselves. We don't need nobody. The other thing is sometimes even in the military, if you tell like your leadership you're hurt, to like quit being a wuss, you're fine. Keep doing your job. Another thing is like it seems like the VA and the government just tries to hide all the resources they have for you. Because like I had a guy get out. He was in Alpha Platoon, and he had his wife and kids. He was struggling really bad. He was living up at a hotel up here in North Dallas somewhere, and he called me, just down, and was like, "Dude, I need help. We don't have groceries. I don't have baby formula. I don't have nothing." And I was able to call a lot of our guys from our platoon and round up like $1,000. And me and Petey, I met up with my buddy Petey because he was down here, and we went and bought a whole bunch of groceries, a whole bunch of baby formula, and then we just gave him like, here's the stuff that we know y'all could use, and then here's cash for like your hotel room and whatever else y'all need. And then I did the research for him, me and my buddy Petey, and we found like VA resources for him. I was like, bro, all you have to do is fill this out. You fill this out and you turn it in, you're gonna get help. And for some reason, like a lot of other veterans, they don't do it. They don't want to do the work, or they get one little wrench in the gear, and they give up. And because for some reason the VA makes you like want to fight with you about everything. Like they want you to have to like work, and I understand, like, a lot of people feel like they just want you to give up. Like, they don't want to. It feels like they don't want. I don't know if it's true, but it feels like they don't want to help you, and that's why they don't give you all the resources when you're getting out. Like, hey, if you could do this, you'll have this. If you do this, you'll get this. Like, you're kind of like on your own.
Yeah,
Like,
there's none of that when I got out.
Yeah.
It was the whole 2-week program that you go through to get out of the military is the biggest joke ever.
Yeah.
Like, most of the time, guys don't even do it, or be like, all right, cool. Hey, you fill out all of our names today. You're filling out all the names the next day. You're doing it the next day. You're doing it the next day, so that guys don't have to go do that 2-week thing. I did a few days of the first week, and I was like, I'm not coming back. This is ridiculous. The guy literally who's teaching the class is sleeping.
ACAP. That's what it's called again. ACAPing.
ACAP.
Yeah. So,
I can't remember what
think it's
ours
called
is
ACAP.
called. Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. But, all right, so you get
That's just insane to me, man.
It's crazy. Yeah, and here's the deal, though. There are good people in the VA that are trying to help.
Yeah.
They are fighting an uphill battle
No doubt.
while being pulled backwards.
Yeah.
It is unreal, and it's unfortunate. But, what we need is more veterans like James who are motivated and who aren't going to play the victim card and who are going to say, okay, cool, I got to put in some work. This is what I'm going to do. And like he said, like he's like, the lady's like, hey, just do these things. And he's like, why would somebody not do it?
Yeah.
There are people that just can't do it. They won't do it. Sometimes there's would you agree, a little bit of entitlement from some
oh
veterans?
yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
think a big thing with entitlement is, like, when you're in the Army, you don't really have to do anything unless, like, usually like the higher ups and everything will do everything for you, and all you got to do is one little thing. So you're not used to I don't know how I would word it. That kind of makes sense what I was saying.
Well,
Like, you
no,
kind of
yeah,
just
yeah.
sit around until
Well,
you're told to do something.
Well, yeah, because in the military in general, they're, for the most part, they're very hands-on with sometimes micromanaging, but, they're just very hands-on. And in the military, a very common mindset is sit around and wait. Like, literally, guys will be like,
Yeah, the
yep,
hurry up
sit
and
around,
wait
hurry up
kinda
and
thing,
wait,
yeah.
sit around and wait. And what that means is wait until we tell you to do something.
Yeah.
Wait until
Right.
something's tasked, and that's what guys will do. So, all right, I know we're coming up on our time, and James, I'm going to ask you right now if we can have you back on the podcast to really dive into what you've done in business. But so I know jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
and obviously getting married has been these very beneficial things in your life. So,
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your gym.
Okay.
Like, why'd you start it? I know it's down in Midlothian. Why'd you start the gym? When did jiu-jitsu ramp up? And talk to us, and I think it was all in the mix there with Ashley as well.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So it was all within a couple years.
A lot of good things.
Yeah, for sure. So 2018, maybe into 17, I wanted, for some reason, I wanted to fight and do jiu-jitsu again. I was like, I'm not doing nothing else. I'd rather
Let's
do
go.
that. And for the longest, every time I gooed somewhere, everything was like an hour away.
Yeah.
And, that was before I really got into it. So I was like, I ain't driving an hour away to do that. Never mind. I ain't doing that.
Yeah, if you don't have the bug that.
Yeah.
But then we realized guys used to drive 4 hours one way.
Oh, I know.
For good
Heck
instruction.
yeah. And now I do it almost
Yeah.
all the time. And so, I gave up on it. And then one day, out of nowhere, Johnny Hendricks MMA popped up.
Yes.
And I was like, where's this at? It's 2 minutes down the street from my house. Are you kidding me? I'm livid.
Bro.
So I'm like, I'm going tonight. So I go down there. I drive up. And literally is where my gym is now, and my buddy's jiu-jitsu school still is. I pull up, I see a big sign, Johnny Hendricks MMA. It's like a picture of Johnny like this with his fist up. It's like a drawn picture. And I was like, oh, this is going to be sweet. I go in, I meet my buddy Randy. I talk to Randy for a little bit. I'm like, hey, here to talk to Johnny. And he, it was him and Johnny's gym, but he's like, Johnny, this is my gym, just messing around talking crap. He's like, Randy, Johnny's just here to help me. He makes money. And I was like, I didn't really realize how much truth was to that. But I was like, all right, well, who would I talk to about signing up, man? I was like, I want to do jiu-jitsu. He's like, you want to do MMA and boxing too? He's like, Johnny comes and teaches wrestling on Wednesday nights. And we have Daniel Ortiz and, of course, Johnny too, teaching boxing and stand-up. And we had Brad from Magnus. He's in Cedar Hill right now, who did some Muay Thai as well. And I was like, I'll do it all, man. Let's do it. So he's like, all right, tomorrow's a great day to start. He's like, come back tomorrow. A guy named Rafael Barbosa is coming. It's his first day here. He's like, tomorrow's his first night of teaching. So come back tomorrow. He's like, you're coming at a perfect time, dude. And I'm like, okay, sweet. You know, I don't think anybody who starts jiu-jitsu realizes like how pretty big it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, number one. And I was like, what does he do? Beat up some people at a random school? You know, I was like, how's he number one in the world? But I'm like, whatever, cool. So I come back, I walk in, I meet Formiga. It's his first night there. I guess the guys from Game just called Randy and was like, hey, we got a legit black belt coming down. He needs a job. Will you take care of him? And Randy's like, of course, I'll take care of him. Let's bring him in, man. I want some good guys in my place. And I'm like, we're in Midlothian, Texas. We have Johnny Hendricks and Hoffa and Formiga at our gym. This is insane. I was like, how does tiny Midlothian have like two of the best guys in the world?
You're just driving back and forth from your free house.
Yeah. Dude, that's like, just to do something on that real quick, is like, I've never been as happy as I've been like my whole life, like, except for like these past few years. And the biggest thing everybody tells me is like, dude, you're always smiling. I was like, dude, if you understood how good my life is right now compared to like the first 25 years, I was like, you would understand why I'm never in a bad mood. Yeah. I was like, my life is great right now. I was like, I don't care about a lot of money. I was like, dude, from where I came to where I am now, I was like, I'm the richest man in the world. I was like, I'm happy, dude.
Amen.
I was like, I don't need no more money. If it comes, cool. If not, great. I'm happy. Yeah. And so anyways, you know, I show up, I start working with Formiga. The first thing Formiga showed was the omoplata sweep. And I picked that up like that. And I'm like 3 months in, I told Formiga, I was like, I want to compete. He's like, all right, we'll do a small one first, get a feel for it. So I go with Randy and James Faulkner to the small Evolve competition. I smoke everybody with that move. Like white belts, like, what is this? You know, nobody knew what it was, like especially the white belts.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I was able to pick that up. And for some reason, I can pick up all of Formiga's crazy, hard stuff, you know, that's supposed to be like really top-notch, like techniques.
Your jiu-jitsu IQ is impressive.
Except for when it comes to fundamentals. That's the weird thing. I can't
that doesn't
shrimp
matter,
out
though.
to save my life.
I can't.
Who cares?
I can't break guard.
Yeah. But you show me like a freaking back take to something, I'm doing it. I'll go crab ride and everything. But anything else, like he's like, I got a video. It's funny. I'm sitting there in half guard, or I'm in side control on the bottom. Formiga's walking by. Jamie's shrimp out. What are you doing? I'm like, he's like, oh my god. I'm like, I don't know. If it's not on my plata sweep, I can't do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know. So I started doing that. I started training with Johnny. I did more time. I was training like 6 days a week. Did that, man. Started competing 3 months in. After that, I was competing almost every month or 2 months. Just killing it. It was all gi at first though, because you know, for me, it was a gi guy, and we never really had some no gi guys there. And man, with Formiga and Randy and James at blue belt, I was able to be number 1 no gi in my division and number 7 in the gi for my division. Bro. And because somehow I won pans, which was insane because I never did no-gi except for like, I think it was 2 months before no-gi for pans. And I told Formiga and Rodrigo and them at the time when he was here, I was like, I want to do pans. And they're like, what? You don't do no-gi? I was like, what's different? They're like, all right, whatever, do it. You're gonna.
What's different? I'm just not wearing pajamas.
Yeah. I love that mindset.
Yeah.
Like,
so you know, and then Pedro and Rodrigo are like, all right, you're gonna freaking probably lose, but whatever, let's go. So I go and I show up. A couple of days the brackets come out, and I see this guy named Florian. I can't remember his last name. It's a hard last name to remember. And they're like, who's your guys? I show him, and Pedro's like, you're going with Flo? I was like, oh, who's Flo? He's like, Florian? I was like, yeah, he's in my bracket. He's like, he's an Olympic wrestler. And I'm like, what? He's like, because me and Pedro were doing privates for wrestling. Yeah. I was like, I want to stand up, man. I want to wrestle no-gi. Pedro's like, pull guard, bro. Pull guard. And I'm like, I'm like starting to get nervous. I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, I wish he didn't tell me, because then I started YouTubing this dude.
Right.
And back in the day, he was probably like ultra heavyweight. He was like 280, just jacked. And I was like, oh, God. I was like, what did I do? And but luckily, I guess he dropped down to like 215. We were both in the same weight class. But I was like, man, he was big and fast. Now he's lighter and fast. I was like, this is going to suck. And somehow I'm going with this dude, scared out of my mind. And somehow I pull the win out. I beat him. I just keep ankle picking him from guard, you know, with the trip. Yeah. And eventually, once I get him on his back, it was done. And he took my back for a little while. And this is the biggest thing I still hear to this day from Pedro in my head. is when someone takes my back to the mat, James, back to the mat. That's all I hear Pedro yelling at me. I able to get my back to the mat, go into his close guard, pass his guard, over.
Yeah.
I'm like, even if I just win that match, it was the first match, I'm like, I won, bro.
Heck yeah.
Yes,
man.
I was like, this guy, they had me nervous. And then I was able to beat the second dude. It was like 7-2. He ended up, we started both getting tired. He ended up doing an accidental reap. But it was like a minute left, and it was still 7-2. So I was like,
Oh,
all
yeah,
right, I still
you're
won.
gonna win no matter
I was like,
what.
I'm good. And yeah, I pulled that out, and everybody's like, what the heck just happened? And just that one win at Pans bumped me all the way up to number 1.
Dude, that's
blue
awesome.
belt for my division. It was pretty cool.
That's awesome. So you've stayed consistent training.
Mm-hmm.
You're a blue belt. You're knocking on the door of that brown belt for sure. Like,
Maybe.
wow, okay. Yeah, sure. You compete whenever you can, and I love your attitude about it. You're like, I mean, there's no difference.
Yeah.
To you,
Yeah.
competition is fun. You clear your mind. You're going out there. You have a great time. You have a great attitude. Win or loss, to you, it's like it's the experience.
Heck
and
yeah. You get the same reaction if I win, if I lose. I get done, I'm like, oh, thank God, let's go eat. I was like, that's done, finally.
We have been on the road running FTXs, and James has signed up for a competition, and he'll be checking his weight. And knowing that he's going to be on the road with us for a week doing FTXs, he'll bump his weight class up. He'll be like, yep, nope, I'm not going to make that weight. We're eating good. We're eating good this week.
It's like, bro, if you go to ultra heavy, you're going to be like 223. You're going to be at the bottom. I'm like, it's fine.
I'll be okay.
Yeah.
and
So
then-
is this Florian Tamengel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tom and Go, yes. Oh,
Yeah, this is a scary looking human being.
Dude, yeah. Look at him.
I'll get to this in a
Yeah.
minute.
He's a Molar guy.
Oh,
for
okay.
JP, and
Cool.
he helped Joao and them a lot.
Oh, nice. Well,
So I was terrified.
see, that's cool, man.
That's where I started, was Moeller.
Let's talk about your beautiful wife.
Yes.
How'd that come about?
So I opened the gym 2018 because of jiu-jitsu. I was like, we need a good gym for fighters. So I opened the gym out of nowhere. I got after the 3-year program, I got the house
Yep.
lead, and somebody, I didn't know anything about houses. They're like, yeah, you got good equity. I was like, what's equity? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, if you've never been taught.
Yeah, none of my family ever owned a house.
Yeah, wow.
And,
so you're the first person.
Yeah, I think I'm finally at that the generational curse thing where you
Yeah.
break it. So I think I'm finally getting there.
My man.
That's him at the Olympics.
I got the video. I have to show you sometime.
That would suck to be Googling that guy.
He's carrying
Yes.
the flag in for his country,
Dude,
at the Olympics.
He knee sliced me so hard, I caught it straight to the face, and I don't know how I didn't get knocked out. You've seen the video, just my head just going.
He's a mastodon.
Yes,
Well, every man can be beat.
yes.
Good job.
Every man can be beat. All right. So you get equity in your home. You
Yeah,
use
so
that
I had
to
the
open
equity
the
home.
gym.
Yeah, they're like, dude, that's like money you can borrow. And I was like, what? I can borrow money? And I was like, okay, gym or sweet car? I didn't know what to get. And luckily I was a little older, and luckily that foundation was helping me out. So I talked to the lady about it, and she was like, what's your house now? Because she still said I can call her, whenever, or I can email her and she'll
But I
help me
love
out.
that you still reached out, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
For sure. And, because I was scared, I was like, I have nobody to ask. None of my family's been here.
Yeah.
I don't know who to talk to. And luckily that foundation was there. And even then, I know I can call them or email them, and they'll be down to give me any kind of
What's the
advice.
name of this foundation?
It's,
So we can give them some shout out.
It was Military Warriors. Not.
It's all good.
Damn. Oh, yeah, we can edit all this.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Because it sounds like the military wounded military one, but it's not that one.
Okay.
I think it should be the military or. Dude, I can't talk right
It's
now.
all
dude.
good, man.
And I'm cousin. Sorry.
It's all good. These things will be edited out.
Military Warrior Support Foundation. Yes. Okay.
All right. So Military Warrior Support Foundation.
Yes, they're the Military Warrior Support Foundation. They do a lot of cool things. If you're, even this, I don't think it's all for Purple Hearts. I think they have different things for all veterans.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So if you have like one car, or you got a super old car and it's beat up, they'll get you a car if you apply and you're approved for it. Even if you don't want to move to a house that they have available because it's in a different state or somewhere you don't want to live, and you need help with housing, they will they will pay a whole year of your rent for your apartment to live in.
Wow.
They do a lot of cool stuff, and every now and then, I haven't been on the website in a while, but I think I've told Cowie about it and some other guys at work. man, if you got a Purple Heart, you just need to get on this website and apply, especially if you don't care where you want to live and you just, they want to give you a house. I think you should just do it.
Yeah.
'Cause,
yeah, that's incredible resources. So
for sure.
she gives you some advice. You pull the equity to open your gym. You open the gym.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so I opened the gym. It's in a small 3,000 square foot building, no AC, hot as hell during summer,
Yeah,
cold
that's
winter.
good.
And it's right next to Johnny Hendricks MMA. And, man, it just kind of started rolling. I opened it with another guy. We had to split ways after a while.
That happens.
And the gym, the first month, I missed my car. I had to sell a Honda Civic hatchback I had to pay the rent. And but after that, it started paying for itself.
Yeah.
After the second month, and I just, I try to buy everything used because I didn't want to go into crazy debt or spend too much and not be able to afford the monthly payment.
Smart.
So it took off from there, and now it moved to now I'm in a 6,000 square foot building. It's right across the way in a bigger warehouse space. And this time it had AC in there because it used to be batting cages.
Oh, yeah.
So when that opened up, I told Randy, I was like, hey, let's share that building.
Yep.
It got big AC. He's like, all right. So we shared that building for a while, which was pretty cool because 3,000 square foot was my gym, 3,000 square foot was Matt's, and all my members thought it was pretty cool because they get to work out and just watch other people beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So then eventually me and Randy both started growing more, and there was another open space next door to it, and we were able to talk to the landlord to put AC in there so we can rent both, and he did it. He raised our rent a little bit, but it's cool.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, so now Randy has 6,000 square feet in his gym. I got my 6,000 square feet, and
That's a massive MMA gym, 6,000 square feet.
oh yeah,
That's crazy.
it's huge.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean it took off. I started getting trainers there, and that's how I met Ashley, my wife.
Yeah.
She started training with the girl there. She hung out. I saw her.
And you're like, I'm going to take over this private lesson.
Yeah.
Want to go grab dinner?
Heck yeah. So I started talking to her. It just started clicking. And then, we were together for a while, fell into a little rough patch. We split up for like a year. Things happen.
Yeah.
We're still trying to learn about each other and figure out everything works, especially me, because like my behavioral health counselor said, I didn't really know what love was growing up.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I know my mom and them loved me, my grandma and stuff like that, but when I was moving around, it just kind of felt like everybody just kicked me out and didn't care. But so it was kind of weird for me too, because one, I was on my own for so long.
Yeah.
So if she checked on me or asked me what I was doing, I'm like, why does it matter? I'm doing what I'm going to do
you're like,
regardless.
I'm a grown
Yeah.
man.
I was
I
like,
don't
I'm
need
going
you checking up. But she does it because she loves you.
Yeah, and I understand that now.
Yeah.
She's checking on me because she cares and she wants to make sure everything's good. But at the time, I was like, I still joke with her when I say this. She was like, where are you going? I'm like, I'll be at where I'm at and I'll be back when I'm back. And she's like, what? And she gets pissed. And I'll just say that jokingly with her. She's like, you're going to tell me where you're at right now or you're going to die. And I'm like, all right, dang, I'm just going to jiu-jitsu. I'll be back. But,
Oh, man.
yeah, I mean, we split up. I went back to my counselor for a little bit, because I wanted to make sure, again, ego, I didn't want to be wrong. And, 50, half the time I'm wrong, half the time she's wrong. And, I'm just, I was trying to adjust to like the family thing, just, now I got to not just take care of me. I got to take care of her and her daughter. And I think that was just hard for me too, was the stepdad thing, because at the beginning I was really, trying, I'll do all this stuff for her. Her dad's not barely in her life. So I would go to her ice skating practice. I'd put her in jiu-jitsu for a little while, which she better get back into. We'd go on vacation together.
Yeah.
Disneyland. I'd carry her around, have my shoulder. She was 7 when we got together.
That's cool.
And it sucks because, I'm a grown man. I should have understood, but at the same time, I think because I was actually trying to pour myself into something like I haven't before. There's times, she'd get mad at me because her dad wouldn't pick her up. And it'd be up to me and her mom to take her. And if we didn't take her, I was the bad guy. And
Yeah.
I didn't like it. And then, she'd say stuff like, you're not my dad, blah, 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 stuff like that. And then I'd try to tell him, hey, it's not my fault. If your dad's not coming to get you, it's not our responsibility. I was like, I know you want to see your dad, but I'm not going to do his job. I'm not going to take you to him for you to see him. I was like, he needs to come see you and be your dad.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's just times I'd say that, you know, because I was more mad that, you know, I'm like, I'm trying my best to be here for you. And so that really hurt my feelings a lot, you know, knowing that I was really trying to be there for her. And then she would say that stuff to me, and then I didn't know if I could handle it. I was like, man, I can't do this again. I can't have a family where I feel like they're just throwing me out to the side. And, you know, I didn't want to feel like I wasn't cared for anymore. And then, like, my wife, Ashley, you know, she just a hard thing, man, was I was just so used to my freedom, doing what I wanted when I wanted, not having to, you know, answer to anybody else. Not really answer to her, you know, but communicate.
No, I understand.
Communicate with her and plan stuff. It was just really hard on me.
Yeah.
I felt like I was losing my freedom, and I think I started looking at it in a negative way of having a family, and, you know, it pushed us apart. We ended up calling off the wedding the first time, and she left. I stayed home. You know, she started seeing someone else because we were apart for a year, and then, you know, I did my thing.
Yeah.
And after a while, we started talking again, and she was like, look, I'm trying to settle down. She's like, I'm 39, about to be 40. I don't want to play games. She's like, I want to be with you. She's like, if you really want to do this and you're going to work on being the family man, I want to do another chance. And I was like, oh, crap. You know what I mean? I was like, all right. I was like, let's do it.
And this is about the time that you started doing stuff with Echelon Front.
It was,
also.
Dude, I think it was literally like 2 weeks after the first one we did in Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And that was rough because we got back together, and I was like, oh, by the way, there's one in Michigan coming up that I got to be gone for a week. Mm-hmm. And the first couple months was really rough with that because, you know, we're just not getting back together. And she's used to, like Camille's dad back, you know, he never left the house. So she was used to her you know, she didn't have to worry about her husband leaving or the guy. They weren't married, but the guy leaving, then she wasn't worried about me leaving, used to that. So then me being gone for a while was kind of rubbing her the wrong way. But, you know, it came around. Now she understands that I'm not doing it to get away from her. I'm doing it because I actually enjoy doing it. I need it. I love being around you guys. You know, I feel comfortable with y'all because, you know, we're all military. We have the same experience stuff. So it's just, I mean, it goes good. Now it's great, man. Like every now and then, you know, normal marriage headbutts every now and then. She doesn't want a lot of land and big property like I do, but she's willing to do it because I want it. So we're trying to work on that. I want to get a big shop. Now I'm building tables. I don't know how the hell I got into that.
Bro, the woodworking that you're doing is incredible. So, man, I want to give just a shout out to your wife because I know I've seen a big difference since you guys have gotten back and gotten serious. And that's one of the things I was talking with Cody about before. We were just talking this morning, then I told him I was recording with you, and he was like, that's awesome.
Oh, I thought he was going to be like, oh, God.
No, he's stoked because we know that you have a lot of really good stories and lessons. I mean, this podcast has been so valuable, bro.
Yeah.
Like, so valuable. And I appreciate you taking the time. But I'm glad you share what you shared about your wife because, one, it's relatable. There's a lot of people out there that they don't know how to have a relationship. And this is just a factual thing, and, you know, don't take this the wrong way. No one showed you how to have a good relationship.
Yeah.
So if you haven't been taught how to have a good relationship, what are you going off of?
Yeah.
What you see on movies, on social
Basically,
media, with other people around you. And so you and your wife have had to work through it, which is real. That's what life is. Life is hard. It's difficult. There's ups and downs. That's why they have premarital counseling. That's why Lucas and his church does premarital counseling. It's like, oh, you guys are getting married? Let's do premarital counseling to set you up for success.
Yeah.
And also everything that you said is very valid. Like, you've never felt that type of love before. And it's a different emotion that you're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
And work through. So I appreciate you sharing that. Most men would not have shared what you just shared. I'm telling you that now.
I know.
And so I appreciate it. I think it's awesome, man. And man, I know we've talked about this before, but man, like, it's been really cool for me, and it might be hard for you to see this, but God is still pursuing you, man. I know it's hard. I know we've had these conversations, but I'm telling you, God is continually pursuing you, and he's going to keep knocking at that door, man.
Yeah.
Because like you're going to, once you open up to that and you experience that, it's going to be an unconditional love that you've never felt before.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it's unlike anything else. Like the love that you feel from your wife compares nothing to that unconditional love that Jesus has for you.
Yeah.
And you've never experienced that. And I know it's scary. I know it's scary because of just the interactions I've had with other people. Now I can say, and you know this, we've talked about this, our upraisings were complete polar opposites.
Yeah.
But love is love, and God loves you. He's been pursuing you. He's knocking at that door. And keep doing what you're doing with your wife and your stepdaughter, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Your bonus daughter, right? Like
Yeah,
she's a blessing.
Yeah.
And kids are never a burden. They're always a blessing. Now they might be difficult at times.
I want to uppercut her every day. And she knows it.
Oh man, but I know when I see pictures of you guys on family vacations, there's no doubt that she loves you. There's no doubt that she cares about you and appreciates you, man. And she might not say it as much as she should, but I promise you, man, like you're a good man, and those girls are lucky to have you. I know my family feels the same way about, you know, just you as a human. We're thankful to have you. Echelon Front, we feel the same way, man. Echelon Front is thankful that you come and you help. So as we get ready to wrap it up, I know we have a few more minutes, but like what's been your biggest transformation in the last couple of years from working with Echelon Front? Like what have you gained from it, and what have you noticed?
Kind of like how you were talking about earlier with the, like our empathy thing, man. I think empathy, listening, working for the Echelon Front, me trying to learn empathy is a big one, especially with my wife and my bonus daughter.
Yeah.
And just people in general, because like me and Ashley had different lifestyle growing up.
Yeah.
You know, she had everything she could wanted. I mean, you know, there's still, she still had her down things, but you know, like there's times she's stressing over something that to me is like minimal, and I'm like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, that's not a big deal. I was like, just do this and it's fine. And you know, she's freaking out. I'm not understanding. I start getting frustrated because I'm like, it's not a big deal. And then she's like going at me about it, and then, you know, it turns into a little argument. And I think, you know, because I try to compare everybody's stuff to my stuff and what I went through, especially, you know, when you go through combat or anything else, you're like, this ain't nothing. I tell my wife, I was like, man, sometimes I feel like normal adult responsibility life is harder than combat life. I was like, man, all I had to do was go out there, shoot my gun, and not get shot. I was like, now I got to pay bills and try to learn how to pay taxes and learn laws that I didn't even know existed. And now you're just throwing this at me and saying I got to do this and that because I didn't know. And you don't give a book, you know, for
start a business now.
Yeah, you're not giving a book on what you need and can't do. So I think that helped a lot was the empathy thing with Echelon Front. Y'all helped me a lot with that. And man, I think another thing with especially with Ashley's ego. You know, I always want to be right, and so does she. So we both kind of struggle with that one. But
you guys are humans.
Yeah, for sure. But you know, when one of us actually show that we're right, we both will admit, all right, we're wrong. You're right. Good job.
That's good.
Don't talk to me.
I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
I'm going where I'm going. I'll be back when
I'll
I'm back.
be back when I'm back.
Yep. I'm going to use that
I'm
tonight.
using that tonight.
Yeah, I'll report back.
Man.
I'll let you know how it goes.
You need to record it. I keep telling Ashley I'm going to record it when I say dumb stuff like that.
Oh, that's amazing. Lucas, what do you got, man? This has been a great episode.
It really has. I think a lot of the stuff that I had to do around your time in Afghanistan, but I'm curious with your journey in jiu-jitsu and competing and where you're at with the gym in regards to like your injury. Like how often are you able to bring people in and to help people that think that they can't recover, that they can't work out, or that they're not going to be able to make it back to where they were because of how you've recovered from your injuries?
Man, so like a lot of people when they come to the gym, they'll talk about back injuries. They can't squat. And like a lot of them, they live like a lot of them like the squat, and they just like, man, I'm scared to do it because my doctor said this and that. And I'm like, look, man, I'm not going to tell you to do it. I was like, I just tell them like from my experiences, and I'll tell them like, I'm like, look, man, read about Louis Simmons. Look what he did for his broken back. And I was like, but I can tell you from my experiences that with that belt squat machine I got and that reverse hyper and even doing rack pulls instead of just coming all the way off the ground, I was like, if you strengthen your, your spinal erectors and everything, glutes, everything that supports your spine, I was like, dude, I honestly think you can do the things you want to do. And I'm like, don't take it to heart, man. I'm like, don't go do it and then hurt yourself. I'm like, oh, it's James's fault.
Right.
I was like, that's just my experiences. I was like, I'll do it. Talk to other people, like, because even with the gym, like, I have a few people are personal trained, but personal training just really wasn't. I couldn't really dive into it as much as I thought I was going to because, like we know if you ain't gonna push yourself, well, like I'm not gonna help you, dude. And if you're just slacking, I'm like, whatever. Like I got another Army guy. He's still in that I help with training every now and then, and then Ashley's stepmom and her friend like, oh, this can work out with you. And I push them. They hate it. They get mad. I'm like, more weight. And they're like, no, we're dying. I'm like, you're fine. But
You'll be okay.
Heck yeah, you'll be good. Like, just say good.
I think a lot of personal trainers fall into like the category of like the soft personal trainer with like, how do you feel? How do you feel? Is that okay? How do you feel?
Yeah.
How do you feel?
That's
right?
definitely not James.
And then you've got
Justin.
the other guys that are the personal trainers that they didn't go the military route, and so this is their way of being the drill instructor that they always romanticized about.
That's funny you said that because this morning I was training this lady Melissa, and I was asking her, I was like, how'd the weight feel? She's like, oh, I feel good. I was like, yeah, I can tell it's too light. You weren't making no faces. I was like, mad at more. She's like, no, it was heavy, I swear. I was like, no. I was like, I can read, I can see the cues. I know when you're training. Yeah. So it's fun.
That's awesome, man.
That's cool.
It's always good when somebody who's been through those kind of things helps somebody else out. Like my dad's had multiple back surgeries. Yeah. I came back from an ACL replacement, and the amount of people that are like, oh, you're never going to be able to do what you used to be able to do. Like you're, that sucks. This part of your career is probably over. Yeah. And you're going to have to give up on these things versus the people who have like been through it. And they're like, nah, if you do these extras, these are the things that helped me. Yeah. This is what helped me get back. And that's cool, man. It's good to be able to inspire people like that. Yeah.
I mean, I wish I could do it more, but I think I had one guy I was helping at a powerlifting meet, and he was trying to qualify for the Olympia for powerlifting. And they said I called him too high for a squat. And, he was pissed. Yeah. And I was like, man, that was pretty parallel or below the knee, man. I was like, because I used to help a lot of geared lifters, so I'm used to burying them. Mm-hmm. And, like they said, he didn't make it. And then he went again. Then they said he was too high. And he was pissed because he thought he didn't get the numbers he needed to be qualified for the Olympia. And I can tell he was pissed at me. And I'm like, bro, I was like, I tried my best to call you exactly where you need to be, dude. And man, but then after that, dude, I just I have a really bad guilty conscience. Like that's one reason why I'm just always straight. I'm open. I'm straightforward. I try to be as straightforward as I can. And after that, man, I was like, man, I don't want to coach nobody in competition ever again because if it's my fault, I eat myself up over it. And it even happened one time at the FTX. I did something wrong, or I would miscommunicate or something like that, and it almost messed up the little scenario we're doing. No, what was that one? And then there's another one. But I was like, I get so guilt-ridden, and I think it's hard for me to do stuff for people, especially if I'm helping them and it's a big deal to them, because I hate if I ruin something on and it's my fault.
It was legitimately no factor. Client had zero idea. It had zero negative impact to the teaching, zero negative impact to the scenario. Zero. When I say zero, I mean absolutely zero.
He still can't let it go.
He comes up to me right away, and I'm like, what are you talking about? We're good. I was like, bro, we're good. I don't even know. Okay, yep, you know what? Cool.
We're good. I can do a catastrophic disaster for my stuff. Yeah. I'm good. If I mess up a small thing on somebody else's thing, I hate myself.
Well, I will just say from
I can relate to that.
But as a friend, and then also just if we're going to look at it from an Echelon Front standpoint, you got to learn to work through that because that could be detrimental to the point where it makes you hesitant to do the things that you need to be doing because the fear of failure is going to hold you back from doing what you need to do. Now, that sounds funny me saying this considering all the things that you've done in your life and that you are doing. Yeah. Just keep that in the back of your mind because I don't want you to ever not do something out of fear because like, here's the deal. I've made all those same mistakes.
Yeah.
Cody's made all those same mistakes. Jocko's made all those same mistakes
Yeah.
when we've been running training. So zero impact, bro.
For
I'm
sure.
telling you right
Yeah.
now. I promise.
No,
okay?
I know. It just there's another one with Cody. We'll talk about it later.
It's all good. We'll talk about it offline.
Yeah.
Man, okay. What are you doing right now to challenge yourself physically, mentally? You got any competitions coming up?
I was gonna do pans, but now that I'm going to Florida, I don't know if I'm gonna do that one.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I've been doing a lot of no gi, and that's challenging in itself because I'm just so used to gi, and you got to be way more athletic. So I've been running, and that sucks.
Oh yeah. You gonna do that to honor those, to honor them? Run with us?
I was worried you're gonna ask me that today.
Are you in or are you out?
I'll do it.
Yes.
I don't know what I gotta do, but I'll run whatever.
Okay, cool. Well, you get a pick, but I mean, I'm just saying if you want
Does
it.
he get to pick?
I mean, I didn't phrase it properly, so technically
Yeah.
yes. However, if you want to like, join the Cool Kid Club,
Yeah.
Lucas, myself, Josh, Aiden, and a handful of other guys, we're all doing the half marathon.
Where y'all doing it at? How's it working?
Well, you could do it down there, or you can come up and we'll all do it together. My buddy Dane's doing it. My buddy Michael
Like
Peterson's
outside?
doing it. Yeah,
Oh, that's not
outside.
bad.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
not on a treadmill. No, zero chance.
Well, I got the salt runner too, and that thing's sweet.
That thing is
I love that thing.
amazing and horrible.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna track out. I'm gonna figure out a route.
Okay, how far is it?
13.1. November 23rd.
I've got a nice loop picked out that Kirsten and I were like, oh, we need to throw this one out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so run walk.
It's whatever you want. My goal is to be able to jog run the whole thing without having to walk.
Okay, I think I did.
Yeah.
I think so.
That's what Dane and I were talking about yesterday after church.
Okay.
Not it.
Dude, my buddy Dane's
I'm gonna
ability,
go 13.1 miles.
his he's like, I just want to finish.
Yeah.
And we're good with that too. Anybody that's listening, hey, you don't have to run it. You don't have to sprint it. You can walk it. The whole thing is just to sign up to be a part of that run to raise funds for first responders to have more access to Echelon Front training.
Sweet.
And so,
We all gonna get an effort shirt.
No, there is a.
but you do get a shirt.
You do get a shirt.
You sign
yeah.
up, you get an awesome shirt.
Oh,
So,
I gotta sign up on the Echelon Front.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Oh, I can't just jump.
Do you know the website?
Yeah.
I'll find it somewhere.
Go to echelonfront.com, click on events, scroll down, and it's to honor them or to honor those virtual run, which means virtual run means you can run it anywhere you want. So if James and his wife wanted to do it down in Midlothian and she's like, cool, you know what? I'm going to walk the 5K with their daughter. Cool. Or she can come up and walk the 5K with Amanda and my kids
heck
because
yeah.
that's what we're doing. So I know we're getting ready to close it out. Dude, James, thank you for this. It's been awesome. A lot that we were able to learn from this. I just want to thank all of our listeners that are out there for all the support you guys give us by listening. Every time you guys share it, finding the link, copying, pasting, put it on your social media platform. That helps out a lot. All the people that are subscribed, so you get notified for the YouTube exclusive episodes. That helps. And then also all the comments and the interaction on YouTube is incredible, so we appreciate it. If you want to follow us on social media, I am at JP Dinnell. It's 2 N's, 2 L's. Lucas is at Lucas Pinkard, Lucaspinckard. James is at Jimmy Gonzo JJ. So JIMMYGONZOJJ. Make sure you're following us at Echelon Front, echelonfront.com. If you want to see some of the events that we have going on, click on events, see what's going on. We have the individual FTX. FTX 15 is going to be coming up in November. The muster is coming up in a few weeks. That's been sold out. There is a muster in San Diego as well. And we're doing it again to where it's limited, very limited. There's only going to be like 24 people that can do it, but you come to the muster, and then the day after the muster, for muster attendees only in San Diego, you get to do a one-day FTX on the back end. So that's going to be awesome to be able to do that again. Check out Jesus and Jiu-Jitsu. It's a ministry that I'm a part of. We have a podcast that comes out every Tuesday. We're also doing live events. We will be doing a live event tomorrow. When you hear this, tomorrow we will be doing a live event. Joao Rocha is giving the free seminar.
Yeah.
That's going to be incredible. And we also have one coming up in Dripping Springs down at Stoic Jiu-Jitsu. That's going to be in November. So we'll let you know exactly when those dates are confirmed. Talking to Leif about that today. He's all fired up.
That's a pretty area.
And
too.
I'm going to hold off on the guest.
I mean, it's all
Is it confirmed? Confirmed?
We do have confirmation on all of it.
Tim Kennedy
Yeah,
is
so
teaching.
Yep, November 16th will be Tim Kennedy
Yeah.
at Stoic Jiu-Jitsu.
November 16th.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to drive back from Florida.
Yeah.
But yeah, check that out. You can go to our website, get some merch as well. Also, a partner of a Texas beef company called Little Cow to Co.
Get that beef.
Yeah, dog. My best friend Stephen Little started the company. My wife and I partnered with him and his wife Amanda. So we got the two Amandas. The website is littlecattle.co. I know, Jimmy, you order some of those.
Oh, I got that subscription, man. The ground beef subscription.
Yeah. We can deliver anywhere in the lower 48 states. We're a custom order beef company that allows you to order exactly what you need each time based off of the needs of you and your family and or friends. We also, like James was just talking about, the ground beef subscription plan that both these gentlemen are on. We also launched our new beef tallow products, which include body butter, tallow cream, lip balm. The feedbacks we've been getting has been awesome. I use those products almost every day. Also, we have the new beef sticks. Have you tried the new beef sticks yet?
No, man.
Oh, okay, we're
delicious.
gonna have to change that
Are you
today.
gonna take him to the warehouse after this?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I'm gonna probably
Envious.
buy some and sell them at the gym too.
We can set you up as a wholesaler.
Heck
Yeah.
We'll just do that today. Okay. Incredible. I know I'm biased, but I think it's the best tasting beef sticks out there. There's a lot of good ones out there. There are some good ones out
I'm
there.
unbiased, and I'll agree.
They're so fresh. And what's crazy is like the beef sticks that we received today that are going out in orders today. Those are actually part of a steer 2 weeks ago that was still alive. That's how
Were they
fresh.
samples? Samples in the box or what?
Oh no,
People are
already
ordering them online.
Oh,
like they
dang.
get added to their order all
Okay,
the
I
time.
didn't know they were already out.
Yeah.
You may get some samples if you play nice.
Yes. So if you, like James, want to be a wholesaler for the beef sticks and or the beef tallow products, send us an email to amanda@littlecattle.co. Also, as the holidays are coming up, if you want to send your customers and clients a custom order, we can help show them your appreciation any time of the year with a custom letter/note or little cards that you want to add to it.
Little Thanksgiving tomahawk steak.
That's
those
the way to
tomahawks off
do
the
it.
chain.
Way better than the spiral ham.
I agree. Eat more beef.
Yes.
I'm also a partner with a printing company called On the Path Printing. Me and my buddy Josh Strasberg, another one of my best buds, started that company. On Instagram, we're at On the Path Printing. Just send us a message on there. Josh and I will get back to you and figure out exactly what you need. I know my buddy Birdman, Ryan Parrott, who's on this podcast, he hit me up about us getting some work going for some of the stuff that he has going on.
You may or may not see some on the path stuff at the muster if you're at muster 020.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Let's see. Also a partner with Leif and Jocko and a company called Bruiser Arms. You can check us out on Instagram at Bruiser Arms. Leif and I were just talking about that, about some of the new kits that we're going to be putting together for gear and weapons. And then also, I got to get some of these training classes rolled out soon. But I also want to thank Origin and Jocko Fuel. Go to originusa.com, go to jockofuel.com, check out the products. 100% American-made jiu-jitsu gear, regular clothes, boots, pants, jeans, hoodies, t-shirts, rash guards,
Jean jackets
called the Maverick.
Yeah. If you want to look super dope.
If you want to see how good that looks, you should be on Instagram right now.
I got all the riz. I'm so busted.
All right, well, we just ruined that. So,
Riz or drip?
anyways,
It's drip right now. Yeah. Drip, drip.
Yeah.
Drip, drip.
Yeah, drip.
James, you're not encouraged.
So everybody's like, man, those guys are so cool.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure that's what they're thinking right now. James, what closing thoughts do you have for us? Anything?
No, I mean,
Okay.
I don't know, man. I have like so much stuff just flushing through my head now from
good.
stuff I never thought about in a long time. But
Yeah.
if you don't mind, about the hurricane stuff.
Yeah, go do it.
If any of y'all are affected in Florida or anywhere down south that's been devastated by this hurricane, my father-in-law and I are going to be down in Florida to try to help everybody redo the roofs. He's been doing it for 30 years, so he knows what he's doing. He's licensed there. He's done Florida forever.
Yeah.
So if y'all need anything, we can help y'all. Even if you don't choose us to do your roof, we can try to help any way we can.
Awesome.
It's Andrew's Roofing out of Florida. Well, I'll be there in like a week, living there for a couple months, trying to help everybody
that's
out.
what you're headed to go do to help them out, and then also start learning that business.
Oh yeah,
That's cool. So,
So-
Andrew's Roofing.
yeah, Andrew's Roofing.
What area of Florida are they based out of? If people are trying to do a Google search.
Man, it's been popping up everywhere lately for some reason. Because when we were in Pensacola,
Yeah.
he's like, Google roofing real quick and see if it pops up. And it popped up. And usually we're down and around the Fort Myers area.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to be either between Gainesville and Tampa
Okay.
trying to help people.
So the SEO game for Andrew's Roofing is doing well. If
Yes.
you're popping up there.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, James, I appreciate it. I know your days are busy with running the business, training, doing everything else like that. So I appreciate you taking the time to come up here and record with us. Lucas, I appreciate it, my man. Man, I hope that you find value in this podcast as I have. I know Lucas has. And I hope this episode has been a reminder for you to go out there and do the work and to never settle. This has been the JP Dinnell Podcast, episode 54.